Welcome to Colour Me Intrigued. Today we are reviewing Tenet. I've got my mate Mike here and Tom joining me and Nathan. So we came out of the cinema and I think we were both feeling a little confused by this film. I know there's going to be a lot of different perspectives, but we thought first we'd go through that. Then there's also been the Batman trailer, so go through that a little bit.
But mainly, we want to talk about
Tenet.
the big elephant in the room.
Yes, not Tom. So, what are our first thoughts? What do you think, dude?
Well, I'm a bit. I was saying just before we started recording that I'm usually kind of the person that tries to keep us on track and tries to talk about the plot and discuss the plot and sort of what things happen in order. And I really don't think I could do this.
That's it. I think if it was just me and you, we'd be there like, that'd be the review of it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
What do you think, Mike?
I've had the advantage where I've seen the film twice now. The first time, I think we can all agree, sat there for the first hour and we're like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
But having seen it that first time, read a little bit online as well, having sitting there watching that the second time, I was able to follow it much better and understand what was happening.
My point of view is I would say that I think it's an average movie, but not the movie's average, as in there's bits that I loved about it and there's bits that I absolutely hated about it. And I get, and hopefully my mind will be changed by some things that's going to be said today.
Yeah.
But my initial thoughts were, I get that I meant to watch it twice, but why should I have to watch it twice?
That was my first reaction. I thought, if you need to watch it more than once, then surely it's failed as a film, because surely you should come out and you should feel like very content with what you've seen within that time that there's given to you.
I think there's a bit of a difference though between wanting to watch it again to sort of go through the bits,
pick up bits,
i.e. Inception,
right, that's so
Memento.
True.
I want to avidly go back and I want to not watch Memento for 5 years, and then I want to watch it and be like, I don't remember that bit.
Like Fight Club.
Exactly. You want to pick exactly. But with this, I kind of feel
baffled,
like
and what's the point?
You're baffling me, so I have to go back and watch it.
Yeah.
Do I really want to?
From the very off, I think we both.
I was going to mention Fight Club actually, because it's one of those films in the sense that it's better watching it the second time. And there's a number of other kind of films as well, and I think it's part of that experience. The same reason why I think people go back to theme parks again as well. Like this film is almost like a roller coaster, quite literally a roller coaster of experience.
Yeah. And there's those little nuances.
Exactly.
But with it, that was the different. I agree with you, Nathan. There was that kind of feeling of, from the word go, you're there sat there going, oh, you've lost me. You have completely lost me.
Yeah.
And so let's get into it. So there was that scene, right, where she goes, you're not supposed to be understanding any of this.
It was all in the marketing.
Right, yeah. And actually, I kind of thought, wouldn't it be nice if they had followed through with that? Because throughout the film, I was kind of thinking, you don't need to keep trying to explain this. The concept was mad. It was like, do you know what it reminded me of? Wanted.
Okay.
Do you remember that film with James McAvoy and Angelina
Jolie? He bends the bullets.
Yeah. Right, so it's like this crazy concept, but they do well in that film not to really get into it too much. Like,
we can do this, don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. And actually I was kind of like, okay, we all laughed actually, didn't we, when she said, try not to understand this.
Yeah.
It was like...
that just line really annoyed me. It felt like it was just put in there to be like, jokes on you.
Good luck understanding.
She might as well just turn to the camera afterwards and win that. It's like she is speaking on behalf of the audience.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think I would have appreciated I probably would have given it like a 2 extra stars.
She gave you a wink.
Exactly. Just for a subtle wink to the camera.
Like if that was like Christopher Nolan speaking through her, going, just don't worry about this.
Exactly.
But then it didn't do that, dude. It was just, I felt like there was so much explaining throughout it.
So this is why I'm saying that I feel like the film benefits from watching it second viewing, because a bit like right at the end of the film, you know where they're doing the mission. One of them's doing it forwards, but they're hang on a second.
Here we go.
Give me a second. They're doing it forwards, but the other team have already done it backwards, so they're doing it
so it's like
forwards
a pincer movement, basically.
Exactly. So the entire film is in that sense, so to speak. It's like, right, you've already experienced it forwards, and you're now going backwards, and you benefit from you got that benefit of already having done the experience.
Right.
So it's a bit like the end of the film in the sense watching it a second time.
I see.
It's like you know what's going to happen, so you can live that experience. I don't know.
So maybe the pincer movement applies to watching the film.
Oh, it's getting deep now. Really,
This is fan theories.
Yeah, I thought there was so much that like. There was a moment where I was like, "Oh, it's Aaron Taylor Johnson!" Like, I love this guy.
I didn't recognise him for ages.
Return of Kick-Ass.
It's the beard and the fact he was wearing a hat and stuff like that.
And he disappeared for a good few years as well. So he was definitely a lot older. He must have been 30.
Because he was in Avengers, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's probably the last.
Yeah, Age of Ultron. That's like 7 years ago.
And I think he was underused in that. And then honestly, I was like, "Oh, wicked! Maybe this will be like something good he can get." I didn't think he was very well used in this film either.
I think
and they gave him a lot of jargon to say, like the pincer movement.
I think his worst scene for me was when he had to explain what the team had to do.
Yeah.
So he was with Red Team, if I'm correct on that.
Red Team.
So he's with Red Team. So Red Team, right? You guys are gonna do this, and then we're just gonna move it. And I was literally like, bro,
dude, don't explain
honestly,
it.
No,
like, none of that.
I didn't like that
We'll
at
go
all.
under here and we'll go up there and then we'll go down there. It's like,
also, he says it all. I remember they're doing it. I'm still not following it.
No,
So it was exposition, which just didn't benefit anyone.
I agree with that actually, because that kind of scene's the same problem I have with like cop films, so to speak, where you got someone they're handcuffed in the room and the police officer comes in and is like, right, Stan. 10 counts of this, 10 it's like the guy already knows that. Just saying that for the audience.
Yes.
That's a lot of
so that kind of scene, like, and I agree, like the script and the dialogue was a lot of exposition.
It was, right?
Just because it was a intense concept.
Yeah.
The script and the dialogue I thought was the weakest thing for me.
Yes.
And it's what I need the most from a movie. And I think we've spoken this before. Like some people look for the good production design, this, that, and the other. For me, it's all about the script. And I just felt it was so weak.
Yeah.
It was clunky.
But also, I don't know whether it was just me and maybe the screen were in, but I did see quite a lot of people complain about this online. It was something to do with the sound.
Yes, the sound mixing was awful. This is my other biggest letdown.
The sound mixing and the
score.
What was it? The volume of the character speaking and their speech and stuff like that was really. So you can't really hear what they're saying.
Yeah.
It sounds a bit like
It's
they're
a very
mumbling.
It sounds like they're mumbling.
And the content of what they're saying is just
baffling in itself.
Again, I almost felt he was doing that deliberately. Like, this doesn't make any sense.
I think
they can put the masks on them, mumble it a bit. But Nolan, like, he obviously he's used his mask loads before, Dunkirk, Bane, etc.
Yes,
So he knows how to make them. So he's almost deliberately said, whack the masks on them, whack the music right up.
That's it.
And like, the music was just like every time anything. I was like,
that
mate,
classic
I can't hear
soundtrack. you have a different perspective on this, right? Like,
yeah, like I agree with the sound effects in the sense that because famously there was problems with The Dark Knight Rises. Nolan, I think every film but Interstellar, Nolan has done like a 10-minute preview at the beginning of like famous IMAX films that are being released. It's emotional. Dark Knight Rises, when it was originally released, it was the plane scene at the beginning. Exactly. And there was so much ambient noises that no one can understand what Bane was saying. And they had the same problem with Interstellar. This wasn't the prologue, but it sounded like Hans Zimmer fell asleep on the organ. There was so much going on, so loud. Dunkirk as well, famously, they had war veterans go to the premiere of the film, and they said afterwards that the film was very, very accurate in its depiction of Dunkirk and the invasion of Dunkirk. But the only thing that wasn't accurate was the sound. It was bloody loud. It's going to
what they were saying is louder than the war.
And that's coming from half deaf.
You know, and it seems to be the same problem again, where I think it's a classic case of Nolan's written the script and he's listening to the dialogue as he's mixing the film or with the team mixing the film, and he's like, oh, well, I can understand it, but you know the script. Of course you know what they're saying. Where he's maybe not necessarily got actual, friends or family, whoever in there to actually listen to be like, hang on a second, what the bloody hell's going on?
Saying?
Wait, so is he doing this on purpose or not then?
So there was a thing on Reddit, and I don't know, it's a screenshot of it was Ask Me Anything with one of the sound designers. I don't know what kind of level he was at, whether he was down here, up there, kind of thing. Yeah. And he was talking about he's frequently collaborated with Christopher Nolan. He said it's done on purpose. Really? Christopher Nolan does it a part of the experience. It's
get more money when you all go and see it twice.
Exactly. I'm the sucker here.
I was going to say, is that part of it then? Is that
apparently? Maybe I have to try and find.
You have to try and watch it again because you wouldn't hear it otherwise. But surely, if you can't hear it full stop, then the second time you go back, you're still there going, Like really.
So the second time I went back, I can understand.
Did you get these
I was, like, I feel like the biggest problem is in Tenet. Is when they're speeding around on the boats. And
I was going to say the boat scene,
They're
right?
speaking on the microphones and the helmets on and stuff.
Yeah.
None of that.
I was
Literally
lost.
none of that. Clue.
Yeah.
Plus you've got Kenneth Branagh's Russian accent as well.
She literally throws her husband
Yeah.
into the water, and you're like,
Sorry?
Why
Why has she done that? Yeah, exactly. Where's that come from? What was that? Can you explain that?
Oh, hang on.
well, she
Yeah.
went into. Why don't we try and scale back?
Shall we go back to
let's
try
talk about the
through
film.
this.
We'll try and go through it, piece it together in our minds.
Okay.
So obviously it begins with this, big sort of terrorist situation,
Opera house.
which I think is a really strong.
What a
opening.
great way to start.
It really hooked me in, especially obviously now with COVID times and stuff like that. So you're seeing this big arena or theatre or something like that, and it's getting shutters go down. It's all getting locked down, and then suddenly terrorists storm the stage. They're smashing up these musical instruments and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just really gripping.
Yeah, really gripping. And it was, I thought it was a really. I was
it was really strong.
Straight away, I was in
That's
there.
because at that point, though,
film,
no one's saying anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So literally, it's just like just great piece of action.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't matter about the plot at that point.
Yeah,
it's just
true.
You're seeing all these people storm the castle. As it
Shades
were.
of Dark Knight as well in there. I thought.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Nolan always does big openings, whether it's Night, Rises, Inception.
exactly. You're
Yeah,
like, here we go. Christopher Nolan's back.
Yeah,
Good,
yeah.
awesome.
It was really hot start.
Yeah. So then what happens? He gets sent to the lighthouse, doesn't he?
Hey, whoa, we're missing.
Yeah.
Wait. Are we going to explain that entire scene?
Well, yeah, because he's.
Okay, right,
what is he there for? He's there to.
Because he's part of the. He works for the CIA.
Yeah.
Supposedly, that's right, and that's why he gets stuck on the little arm patch. So he's pretending to be Russian. No, it's Ukraine, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Estonia.
Terrorist.
I want to say doesn't matter.
He's either Estonian or Ukrainian. I think.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those two. And then they stick on the patches and they pretend to be.
Because I think the CIA, because they were there to get that part of the algorithm, didn't know what it was at the time. One of the 9 pieces. And the CIA were there to get it.
Right, so you've already lost me.
You've
already lost me with
already.
they're there to pick up the knife. You're telling me this as if that's
Obvious.
That's obvious. And
because after he takes the pill, he takes the cyanide pill, but it wasn't
it's
cyanide.
fake cyanide. The whole thing was like a test, wasn't it?
That's right.
I like that.
Test,
okay, yeah. So that whole combination with he then gets taken by these thugs and they beat the shit out of him, leave him on some train tracks.
Yeah.
They're ready to die. He takes the cyanide capsule and then he wakes up and they're all like, "Hey,
it was a dud.
That was a test.
Yeah.
Just
Put
joking.
you in a coma.
You're going to help us out. and You're going to do this now."
Yeah.
And what is it? What is he gets told? The only word you're going to need.
Yeah. Tenet. It will open some doors.
It's going to open some good doors for you, but also some bad ones. I don't
already.
I think I heard him say the word twice.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And he goes,
really?
this move and the word Tenet, and then you're supposed to.
At that point, I was a bit like, can you not just give me like a dossier, like normal?
Like, read through like a Mission Impossible style, like this is your mission, whatever. Like at that point, I'm already lost. Okay, so that was. Should we call them Horcruxes? The algorithm, which like I was already, okay. That makes sense to me now. That whole scene, they're trying to find one part of the algorithm. Because there's some double crossing.
Because I believe the CIA, to my understanding, I think the CIA knew the terrorist plot was going to happen. Obviously, the Russian, Estonian, the good guys, good police, turn up, obviously, because they're here to stop the terrorists.
Right, yeah.
And that's their opportunity to sneak in and try and steal it without them all figuring out what's going on.
Okay.
The terrorists, I believe, were hired by Kenneth Branagh's character.
Oh, really?
Off the top of my head.
I've lost already.
And
mate, we're literally like 10 minutes into this and already
5, not even that.
Man.
Anyway, keep going.
Sorry. And because they're obviously there to get the algorithm because he wants to destroy the world, kind of thing.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
This entire film is a James Bond film, time travel.
Yeah.
Do you not think?
No.
Do you not think?
I agree.
Yeah,
I
get
Nolan
it.
has always said he's always wanted to make a Bond film.
Has he said
and
that?
always wants to make it. He's a huge Bond film
Awesome.
fan, and if you just look at all the character types, even to a point like what's the character's name? Kat, the female.
Yeah.
Kat. right at the end where she's on the boat and she's in the white
Yeah,
bikini,
yeah,
like
yeah,
Bond girl,
Bond girl.
white
Yeah,
bikini.
yeah.
kind
And when
of
she
thing.
jumps off over the boat and stuff.
Yeah.
There are certain.
I
there are
actually
certain-
understood that bit.
that big piece at the ending. I was like, I'm actually starting to understand that a bit.
You thought?
Oh, I'm getting a bit of plot now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can pick up bits and pieces and be like, okay, yeah, that's a bit of a James Bond trait. That's kind
Kenneth
of like
Branagh's character.
That's classic Bond.
Classic Russian nuclear apocalypse kind of villain.
I just want to blow the world.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want to see it burn. Yeah, that's fine. But like, I don't like the whole. The marketing for the movie was, this is James Bond for a new generation. It's like, no, it's not. It didn't have that. It didn't have that feel to me.
Okay, yeah.
What did you think of the main guy, John David Washington? I think it's his name. Denzel's son.
So I only found out that he's in. Is it?
Yeah, he's the main guy in
right,
Black Klansman. He was like,
Has he been in
Adam
anything
Driver.
else?
He's in a film called The Old Man and His
Probably.
Gun with Robert Redford.
Oh, okay.
It's
I
not a
know
big
from
movie. This is his
Black
big
Klansman.
movie.
Right, this is his
Black Klansman was like his first leading role.
And
Yeah,
you were
that
telling
was-
me he's Denzel Washington's son.
Yeah, I had no idea. I had no idea. It makes sense. Like they look similar,
Yeah.
and the last name's the same.
That's all you
Yeah.
need.
It all clicks.
It didn't click at all, but it makes sense now.
I think performance-wise, like,
I think he did a good job.
I don't think it was anything to write home about. Like,
Yeah.
nothing kind of like
It's
really
not winning an
jumped out
Oscar
at me.
anytime soon.
No, exactly. But I
Certainly.
think overall, like,
It's a good action star.
fair
He
enough.
held
I
his,
thought
he held his own.
Robert Pattinson, I thought held up very
Good.
nicely.
Yeah, he was my favourite.
Yeah, I agree.
There
I
was
agree.
a few moments where I was like, Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Especially when they were going around Oslo in the airport, black
Yeah.
suit,
Yeah,
kind of
Yes.
tie. Bruce Wayne.
Oh, how exciting!
Also, I felt with Robert Pattinson, like he was like the only one that realised like this is all bullshit.
Yeah.
And I think maybe because he's done things like Twilight in the past, when he's on a big blockbuster, other ones like John David Washington's like it's my big break.
Yeah.
Whereas he's just like I don't like this fucking thing, and he just seems to just be like I'm just gonna have a bit of a laugh. Like it just doesn't make sense the lines I'm saying.
yeah, I think
You can understand
I
him,
think
though.
the final conversation that they both have,
Yeah.
where you're kind of like, okay, we're going to get a bit of clarity on the story
Yeah.
here, and he's just like, there's this shot of him walking away,
Yeah.
and he just looks back. He's looking back, sort of over his shoulder type thing, and he just gives this like charming smile, and he's talking. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, all of this is absolute
Shit, yeah. Yeah, that's when he's like, oh yeah, you hired me, and like for you it's the start of a friendship.
You
It's
hired
the
me,
end of a friendship, and he's just like, hey, see you later.
This is the beginning. This I'll see you in the future. And there was that line that kept repeating about time is not made in the past; it's made in the future. And you know, every time they said a cliche like that, I was there like, please stop! Please stop using these stupid.
What was the?
What's the point of that?
What was the thing with was it what you just said? The kind of greeting thing that they had. So with
It's
taking
a
right
Twilight World thing.
Oh, yeah.
What was that?
I'm
Because
guessing-
they used it sort of like 2 or 3 times
Yeah.
in the first hour and a half, I think, something something around there, and then you didn't really hear anything more about it. At the
I
end.
think
Was that something?
I think it was just a code word to be like, right, we're on the same
We're on the
page.
same
You
page.
know what I
Right,
know,
yeah.
kind of thing.
Right. Okay.
No, but I thought it would be, just dropped in, because obviously they use it in the terrorist bit. He uses it at some point again.
Yeah.
I thought it'd sort of be a rearrocurring thing, and then it'd be like, oh yeah, this.
When it got to the end, kind of everyone was on the same page anyway.
Yeah.
Like half of them were going backwards.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. But,
You must be seething here because we're already going like that was ridiculous. That was
so
ridiculous.
yeah, for sure. Like I'm picking out the points that like I was not necessarily a fan of. I think the script, a lot of exposition. I didn't exactly buy the John David Washington and Elizabeth Debicki's
Yeah.
kind of romance.
Yeah.
Kind
No,
of
I
thing.
didn't. I didn't
Didn't
agree
buy
with
that.
that.
Didn't
Seems
buy
to
that.
be
Also,
chemistry
considering she was probably like the main female character, she didn't have
Yeah.
much to do. She's kind of just there, like, "Where's my son? I need my son."
That was
And
the
I'm
night
like,
as well.
fair
We were
play.
saying this.
I
and
didn't
she
like-
kept saying
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
one
yeah.
particular thing, and it felt almost unnecessary to the storyline, right? Like
Yeah.
I guess it was the heart of the film that kind of gave her purpose as to this is why I need
That
to
was
get
her
involved,
purpose, and it was
and
like-
this is why I need to save
she
the
maybe
world.
said it like 7 times. You're like,
Yeah.
we know that's your purpose.
Interesting
That was
thought though.
it. Go on.
Theory that I read
Oh,
online.
here we go.
I read online. When you think about it, because at first I thought that's a bit of a stretch, but then I thought about it a bit more, and I was like, "This is all right. This is interesting." Cat, son, little boy, blonde kid, grows up to be Robert Pattinson.
Jesus,
Now,
that could.
there was a few things.
Well,
And I'm still
the
on the
pointers.
fence, but I'm not 100% like I don't believe this. So, someone did the research, and apparently Estonian is one of the hardest European languages or languages you can learn in the world. That's right. what's it called? Kenneth Branagh's guy. It's Estonian, I remember now. So obviously it's their kids, two of their kids. Yep. Rob Pattinson's character, he knows Estonian. Yeah. It's confirmed in the film when he's going along and he's like, "What's that say on the radio?" And he's like, "I don't know." And he's like, "Oh, I thought you spoke Estonian." "Oh no, but it's backwards." So he knows Estonian.
What? Yeah.
Is that what they said?
Yeah, something like that. I'm not going to say it backwards myself, but something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing. Wow. So obviously the characters' names are different. Like his name's Neil. Rob Pattinson's character now. Yeah. Kid's called Max. So the biggest argument for that is that if Neil's character, Rob Pattinson's character, confirms himself, he might put the pieces together. Hang on, this doesn't make sense. Anyway, it's a secret name.
Okay. Someone
online. Again, this is a stretch as well, but I'm like, that's good. Max. It's short for
Maximilian.
Maximilian. The last 4 letters in reverse is Neil.
Jesus. As if it wasn't complicated enough.
Yeah.
Wow.
And what was the other thing? There was another thing.
That is pretty.
Oh, and the other thing is when she gets shot.
Yeah.
In reverse.
Yes.
When she gets shot in reverse, they'd only just met, to my knowledge. Is that right?
Oh, her and Robert Pattinson.
Neil. I think they've only just met. Yeah. However,
right.
he's got a master's in physics, all this, that. He obviously knows how to shoot a gun here and there.
Yeah.
He might know doctor-related stuff and things like that. However, when she gets shot, they go back in time and they're in the shipping container. He spends most of his time with her. His hypothetical mother, potential mother.
Oh, so like he knows.
And he stays by her side the entire time.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, they're in a shipping container, so I guess you could argue,
like
by
right
default,
by her side.
Yeah, like looking after her and this, that, whatnot. So it's an interesting thought. The only thing is that because of his age, what is it? But he's probably in his 30s. The kid's probably about 10.
Yeah.
Which means he's obviously, because of the plot, we all know that he's from the future. At some point, he's come all the way back to help John David Washington's
he says
story.
They're friends in the future.
Exactly. Yeah, and at some point, he's lived all the way back. So that means he would have had to live about 10 years. Yeah, kid lives about 10 years and then 10 years backwards. Yeah. Would have made him 30 at the point. So that's the only stretch.
I like
that. I believe that's right. Then they talk about they're not allowed to interact. So you're not allowed to interact with your previous self because of this, that, whatnot.
And you never sees the kid.
Yeah, never see the kid. Never interact.
Gosh, that's a good theory.
So I thought that was bloody interesting.
That is very interesting because you imagine there must be so many of these throughout the film. There must be so much thought through.
He's deliberately, like for example, like what Pattinson literally is called Neil. Yeah. So I just thought that's just a weird name.
Yeah,
to give,
strange one. Yeah.
If it was like a Bond, like
So the first time I saw the film, the entire time.
And the main guy's just called the protagonist. He hasn't got a name. He's just called protagonist.
I thought that was very
the whole
interesting.
time the first time I heard the film, the entire time I heard Neo was his name. And I was like the red pill. I
started thinking that.
I was starting to pick up all these Matrix kind of references.
That's how bad the sound is.
Like, exactly. Proof. Yeah, but. Yeah, maybe there are some Matrix references and, time, this, time, that. I don't know. Like, I have to watch it again, maybe. Bloody hell. They've done a good job as marketing team.
Yeah, true. But I did keep hearing it's interesting.
But, I thought that was an interesting theory.
Yes.
Because I didn't buy it at first, but then I was reading more into it. I was like, oh, this is interesting, actually.
Yeah.
The Elizabeth Debicki character, so Nolan's been quite famous for, like, killing off wives.
Oh.
So obviously in Inception, his wife's dead. Interstellar, his wife's dead. In Dark Knight Rises, Prestige, dead wife. Memento, dead wife. So he made a big thing about this is like a main. She's alive. But again, she literally just was there to cry out of sign. I didn't think she really had much to do.
I didn't think her as a character she had much purpose. And also for me, I didn't. So when you try and grapple with the plot, so obviously we were talking about the Horcruxes. When we get to the point where was it the big fucking car chase? Is it the car chase thing?
Yeah, like the back
there is a car chase.
I mean, that's probably one of my favourite bits in the film. Actually.
Oh no!
I thought
it was too. I just remember sort of like just head in hands, being fuck's sake.
Yeah, I definitely was the same at that point.
I admire it as a piece of piece of cinema that you can do that and. Okay, yeah, it looks cool, but I'll just no.
By that
Which
point,
pissed me off.
you were so.
No, it's
But that's that's how I was watching it. Though I was like, I don't understand what's going on. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm just going to watch this as a series of set.
Don't
Like a
try
Mission,
to understand
like a
it,
Mission
just
Impossible movie.
experience it.
Just being like, there'll be one good bit, and I'll be like, that's cool. Another good bit, that's cool. I'm not
Yeah.
going to bother listening to what you're saying because it doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I said to Mike, I said, I wonder if he came up with the main sort of big sets. That's what I felt like. As soon as we got out of the cinema, I was like, it felt like they had gone overboard in trying to tie together these huge stunt set pieces that he had in mind. Like the point where he's crashing that airplane into the building was unbelievably real.
Yeah.
Weren't you telling me that there's not much CGI in this?
Yeah,
like, it's mainly special effects.
I don't know how accurate it is. It comes from someone close to the film. I can't remember who exactly it was. Something like for Godzilla, there's like the new Godzilla film is like over 1,000 VFX shots, and then like Inception was like 600 VFX shot. The average rom-com is like 300 VFX, and this was like about 200.
Wow.
Just because it was all done so practically on location.
Considering the scale of it.
And according to Rob Pattinson, there wasn't a single green screen on set either.
What?
Yeah. Obviously, some things
To
will
be
be
fair,
CGI.
you've got to remember a lot of it goes on to the fact that like they're on the same set twice. Because they go back to like in time, so they probably
I see what you mean. They
afford
just they re-record it and then add them in afterwards.
And also, it's his most expensive movie, so it makes sense that it's probably doing a lot more practical.
They certainly throw a huge amount of money at this film. That was very obvious.
I'm interested to see the box office results as well.
I am,
Well, it's top box office. It's annoying because it's become the biggest selling film of 2020. It's overtaken Bad Boys for Life.
Well, they were labelling this as the film that was going to save
everyone
the
back,
box
yeah.
office from 2020.
That's definitely really grinded on me. The fact that like, right, you know, we need to get everybody back in the cinemas. This is going to be the thing to do it.
Yeah.
It's just like, come out of the cinema and say, really, this is the best.
Make it more accessible if you want everybody to like go and see it. But then again, there's people like Mike that are going to go and see this 3 times.
I'm going to see it a couple of times.
I think now I'm more annoyed at the fact of how baffling it was and how like the points that we've discussed about the sound and stuff like that. You've done that on purpose to try and engage me further and get me to go. It makes me not want to.
I agree.
I just
you know, resigned.
A bit like that rebellious kid at school. Like I try, fuck you. I'm not gonna. No way.
Yeah.
And it just that really annoys me. If it was a really great film, if it was Inception 2.0. Fuck yeah, I would have gone and seen it again. I would have been like, yeah, it's brilliant.
That's
could
very
have gone and
true.
watched it.
I think that was a point I brought up, which was that if it was like Inception, where they've made such a grandiose storyline, seems so understandable, right?
Yeah.
Throughout that film, there was no point where you're sat there like rubbing your temples. Going,
Interstellar's the same as well.
And actually, Interstellar's very.
I think the
clever
only
at
thing that got me with Interstellar, I remember we saw this when it first came out,
Yeah.
and we howled out laughing at the ending because it was so funny.
I think a lot.
Oh, what with the bookcase?
I think.
Well, it was a
I
bit
think
off
but I understood it though. I understood what
No, yeah, I
it was just a bit shit.
I thought it was ridiculous.
unnecessary. It just felt unnecessary.
Really
It was already a masterpiece. You didn't need him to survive. Actually.
It was a brilliant movie right up until that.
It felt like a very Hollywood ending that didn't need to be a Hollywood.
But that's why Nolan's so good at that sort of thing. Like, even something like Memento, which was old and stuff like that, but like deals with these massive like time bending things.
Yeah.
But you always come out of it being like, I feel clever now. I feel clever that I've sat through this.
Exactly.
And I came out of that one feeling like,
I'm a dumb shit.
I'm a dumbass,
He's just called me a twat. That's
exactly.
He's just said, sit through this, you idiot.
Exactly.
I feel like the marketing for this movie really pissed me off. Like I've seen so many things now after I've seen it. You know, just been like I said earlier, like there's a new James Bond for a new generation. This is James Bond on acid. Yeah, but fucking, I can say that about anything. It's fucking Alice in Wonderland.
I don't want James Bond on acid.
Or what was the other thing? You know, when they go through Christopher Nolan's previous films, from the director of Memento, Inception, you're trying to get in this audience that like these twisty turny films. They like plots that they're far fetched, but they can kind of deliver to the audience. They understand.
And there's still those Easter eggs they can find.
How many people understood Inception though the first time it came out? Like fully grasped it.
I
had to watch it twice.
No, I wouldn't say that I fully grasped it, but it definitely.
I got it enough to understand.
Yeah, I got it enough to understand. Okay, this is our plot. This is where we're going.
Yeah.
Like if you try to get me to plot point Tenet, I honestly I can give you the starting. I can give you a couple of bits in the middle, and then I can kind of be like, okay, well then there's the boat bit, and that happens.
The big set piece.
Yeah, and then there's this big fucking 1917 Dunkirk bullshit. Like, I hated that bit.
Yeah.
I fucking really annoyed me.
I agree.
What's that bit? Sorry, what?
The red and blue team.
Oh,
Yeah,
the Call of Duty happened.
That
Yeah.
bit-
Call of Duty,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
That's
I
what
don't know
it's
that
about.
bit, like,
School.
I didn't
Yeah,
even know
exactly.
who they were shooting at. Like, all they showed, the camera work was just them going like and running.
who
But it
were
was
they
like
shooting at?
it
It was
wasn't
not
edited well. And like I wanted to see
I
someone getting
agree.
shot and like
I
firing back
thought
at
all
them.
of that was lost.
But it was
on
just
me.
some guys running up a beach with
Yeah.
a gun.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Running up a desert.
I guess that's the limitations of a 12A.
Yeah, but he made
Yeah.
Dunkirk.
I honestly,
Yeah, that was
that,
just loud.
Very loud film.
that ending for me, or that bit before the
Yeah.
ending for me, I couldn't stand that. The whole red and blue team bullshit. I really didn't like it. And then I can tell you about that, and then I can kind of vaguely tell you about the ending, but I don't really.
Do you know what
I get what I get what the hidden
the
meanings
premise?
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what
but I
Nathan
just-
said halfway through this? He said, "Don't worry, there's gonna be a bit at the end where you go,
Ah,
I
yeah,
get it
yeah,
now."
yeah,
And actually,
yeah.
that was kind of happening throughout the last half of Inception,
yeah.
where even though there's like quite
Yeah.
a convoluted story,
The last bit of
as they're
Inception has
going
got a
through,
lot of detail, and
There's a
you're
lot of
finally
detail.
like, I get it.
you're going,
I get it.
okay, so they're going from that dream,
Which might
into
come in
that
the second
dream.
watching with this.
And there's
But
a
I
lot
like
of that part,
but then I like that as well. Like with the ending of Inception, that was infamous for.
no, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, how
phenomenal!
How did,
yeah.
How did that?
Yeah.
How did it end? Like because you
Yeah.
don't know. Is it a dream? Is
And
it
there's
reality?
that as
Is
well.
it? Is it
And
not?
there's the grand ending. Yeah.
And then also with Memento, like when Memento finishes, you want to go back and watch
You
it,
do.
and it's not as if like I don't quite understand it. You're like, no, I want to go back because now I understand the full scale of of the whole movie. I want to go back and I want to watch it and I want to see that those things. And with this, I just kind of, I don't know.
The moment didn't happen for you.
No,
did
it didn't. It
And
didn't
it
happen.
for me either.
And I remember turning around and just being like, no, don't worry, like we're only about half an hour in, like there'll be a point, we'll get it. And then it was about an hour, and I'll be like, no, there's going to be a point. There'll be a point that we
still
really
sticking with
understand.
it,
Yeah.
And then you're sitting there after about an hour and a half, and I was like, I'm not fucking getting this.
Yeah.
And it
becomes
frustrating.
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm.
Especially when it's a long movie.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I've got another hour of this,
You're looking
and
at
and there's no. If I don't get it now, I don't
There's
feel.
no
Like,
chance.
I don't feel like it's
Yeah.
suddenly gonna make.
How about you, Mike? Did you
So
have that?
I was
moment?
literally just about to say I think that's where I'm different because I was about an hour and a half through where I turned to my mate
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't have a fucking clue what's going on
So
right
you,
now.
you were.
But
thinking
I was
that,
I was
okay.
picking up as I was going along, kind of got to the end, kind of thing. It was still a little bit confusing, but then I thought about it. I think I understood it a little bit more, but it still made me want to go.
Do it
Right,
again.
I want to know what's happening, kind of thing, because it was
Yeah.
exciting. It was an experience, kind of
Get
thing.
your
All those
teeth
set
into it.
pieces, the Oslo scene, the end as well, and it all coming together and working simultaneously, and
You were clearly thinking, what's he going for?
yeah,
here?
yeah, yeah.
Which I think we were kind of maybe an hour in already going. I don't think
Yeah.
he's got this.
But I kind of felt the same, but not enough that I came out saying I'm going to give this guy 10 quid. For
Agreed.
another day.
Agreed.
I said like when it's on Prime, when it's on Netflix,
Yeah.
I'll return to it and then hopefully it'll make more sense. But I
Yeah.
didn't come out being like I love that enough that I just want to get those little bits. I just
Did
went,
you have
haven't
any
got it
like?
enough.
Did you have any like penny drop moments? Because
The red tag
yeah.
bits, like on the Pattinson's bag,
Yeah.
so it shows that he's obviously the guy that died and was the guy right at the start
that
as well.
was good,
So
yeah.
that was my almost my penny drop. Like it's him. And
Yeah.
It's the hallway when they were in Oslo and they're fighting the guy and he's going it all backwards.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
props to the stunt team.
Yeah,
because
that
I was
was-
watching
yeah,
behind
that
the
was-
scenes
yeah, I like that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it wasn't CGI. It wasn't like the stunt team. One of them learned how to do it backwards, and the other one learned how to do it
Wow.
forwards. And it's all
What?
done in
That's
camera.
really good.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And obviously there'll be some shots as well when he was like crawling on the floor kind of thing, and it was just a shot, and he was doing it backwards. He was doing it downwards. So that would be a case of they film it
Reverse
and
it.
they reverse it.
Okay, I was going to say.
And now and
surely
again
you
they'll throw a shot in, but it's not CGI. I guess it's not. Yeah, it's really impressive. And they spent must have been months doing it. But
I did really enjoy that.
I
Scene
loved
there.
it. But when going back to the penny drop, when he grabbed him by the mask and flips him on the floor and then paused and then run away,
Oh,
kinda,
yeah.
that's where I
Yeah.
instantly knew, right, it's one of those two, and he's just
Yeah,
seeing
yeah.
himself
Yeah,
or he's
yeah.
just seeing
Yeah.
the other guy.
I thought that was quite an obvious kind of thing. At the end when they do reveal it, I was like, yeah, I kind of got that.
Yeah.
It's always gonna be
Yeah, I
one
think
of
it-
those.
But I think it
Yeah.
was satisfying watching
Yeah.
it again
Yeah.
because you're watching the entire scene again, but this
Knowing.
time in
You're
reverse
seeing it from the other perspective.
and doing it from the
Yeah. That was very
and
cool.
everything kind of makes sense. And it was only when I realised which one of them was when they were in the shipping container on the way back to Oslo, and he's like, "Crap, my arm hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it was getting worse and worse, and that's when I realised he'd been stabbed in the arm, and it's all going backwards.
Yeah, and he's putting on the uniform, and you're thinking...
Put on the uniform, and it was like...
So I kind of... Yeah, that for me was the bit where I was like, oh, I'm starting to
understand
it. That's you know, what I was getting to,
that's when it started thinking, it's all going to link together, this is all going to make
this
sense.
So, you know, I've spent... What are we in now? Probably about an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and a half, maybe when we get to about that point. So I've spent an hour and a half, and I'm just like, I'm really not getting this. You know, I really didn't like the car chase scene. I thought that was a bit. And then, you know, and then they're like, oh, we need to go back to Oslo because obviously they're now inverted.
That's right. You can't go back through the same machine.
Yeah. So he's needing to. So they need to go back to Oslo. So it's like, okay, cool. Like, and then I was like, Oslo, where? Oh shit, they're going back there. I was like, he's going to be the guy. He's beating himself up. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. So and then when that happened in front of my eyes, I was like, yeah, I'm getting this plot now. And then it lost itself again.
And like a little peek.
Because I've only just realised that because was it at the beginning of the film where she was explaining something like that? Because the film happens and it starts at the opera house. Oh yeah, that's right. In the opera house, what's happening at the opera house is happening exactly the same time as their Vietnam trip. So you get halfway to the film, and then literally it all goes in reverse, and you watch again watching everything in reverse.
Yeah.
And then the opera house and the Vietnam trip, and then the big battle at the end is all happening at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's happening within about a span of 2.5 weeks.
Whoa. Okay.
Because when they get back to Oslo, she says something along the lines of, right, that's right, they ask her, where's he most likely to go to end himself in the end?
Oh, she's like,
10 days ago.
He was in Vietnam.
Vietnam, So all of that's basically happening.
So the entire plot goes forwards about 2.5 weeks, gets to about halfway, and then it goes back 2.5 weeks again. Oh, that's interesting. I just thought about that. That was
like, because I got the whole, like, oh, it's happening simultaneously, but I just didn't understand why.
The main thing is how, I think, for me, especially the car chase, the whole time, I'm kind of there almost just resigned and laughing, because I'm like, I don't understand how any of this is possible, not possible, because none of it was really possible, but the whole kind of him coming between the two cars, saving the bomb from going off and all this, I'm just there like, how is that possible? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a different.
Is there any kind of light you can shine on that for me? Because I'm still...
That's right, because it's a small version of the end battle, isn't it? It's like, oh, blimey, it's all happened and then he's going backwards learning what's happened, or because it's already happened. That's right, it's already happened forwards and it messed up, and now he's going to go backwards because he had to get the
correct it.
What's it called? The algorithm.
The
algorithm. Yeah. That's why he went forwards, doing everything, didn't work because he lost it, and then he decided to go backwards. That's right.
And then he does it backwards
to find the piece, and
to get the piece.
Finds it.
That bit didn't make sense to me.
He must have found it.
Also, weren't people's reactions different the second time round? Or am I making that up? Like Kenneth Branagh, like noticing him and going like talking to him through the car window, etc.
Well, I mean that's just because Branagh knows about the future.
Was that because it was filmed in a different angle to the one you saw before? And
it's probably a different perspective, but I can't imagine Nolan would have done anything other than perfection, making sure everything happens to the point that someone's lifting their finger, make sure it happens exactly the same.
And then they've got cameras everywhere and just filmed it from the same just that one time, rather than try and redo it perfectly.
So it would be all plausible to see it that way and then see it again the second time.
I'm pretty certain. That it would all done it.
I think one of my main bugbears was you getting really bogged down with the whole Bond Girl side mission. You know, I want to know more about this, the main mission, the main plot. And you're talking about
this painting that
you're talking about the algorithms and stuff like that, and I was completely bogged down by. Okay, so now we've got on a side quest, and we have to go to a facility that's on the edge of an airport because they don't have to pay tax. And you're getting really bogged down in it's really good that he goes here because they don't have to pay tax. But okay, I couldn't give a fuck.
Well, it's a spy film, I guess. I think ultimately that's kind of what it is.
No, but I mean, as in you're getting like the actual the conversations. But you got really bogged down at that point about it's really good for them because they don't have to pay tax. Okay, cool.
Great.
Like, no, let's skip past that.
Don't mention
This is my
tax
issue
in a
with the
film.
dialogue, though. If you've got something as complex as what they're trying to come across, don't then do a side plot about taxes and stolen paintings and stuff like that.
But that whole stolen painting thing, and I feel as if the protagonist, he gets too far along, and it seems he's too gelled with the main woman. What was her name?
Cat.
He gets too he gets too invested with her, and it just seems like if you've got this main fucking mission and you work for the CIA and you're trying to fucking collect all these gems or whatever the fuck it is, like that's your just fucking do
the
that.
job. Do
that, and then you can fuck her after. Like it's fine. And I just feel like he got too bogged down with this woman and his little side quest with her, and it just really annoyed me.
So when he went to Oslo the first time, I don't think it's because he was doing it for the girl. I think it was she sold this painting.
No, he was using her.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was destroy the painting so I can get a conversation started. With the husband. We'll do this kind of trade. You'll be free because he hasn't got blackmail and this, that, whatnot kind of thing. And
I didn't quite understand how that picture was blackmail over her and why she couldn't leave her husband because of...
Yeah, she sold a forgery. She sold a forgery.
Oh,
because she's the examinator.
So she's the examiner, and she noticed it was a forgery.
Said it was genuine to get the money off it. I think to get the money to escape from him.
Something
so
like that.
Her reaction genuine when he gives her
the painting. She knows it. She knows.
Goes, this is the
because he's obviously from the future. Or the future have told him what's because the future is sending him the gold, which is where all his fortunes come from.
Okay.
So he must have known what was going to happen. Because obviously the future's already seen everything that's already happened, and so that's why he moved the painting.
That's like a key that he's giving her at that point.
No. The painting's just that you thought you came up with this big plan to try and get rid of me, this, that, whatnot.
But I know I'm onto you.
I'm putting it right in front of your face. You failed. I've still got it. I know it was you, and it was just like a emotional kind of.
That's it, Bond villain. Just like I've got the whole of you. You thought you'd got me. You haven't got me. I'm rubbing in your face.
And he did that multiple times.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like we've just had to really delve into that to kind of find.
Just work out that little bit.
And that's just so for one little fucking painting. Like that was so for me. It just kind of like right. Let's get to your main quest.
Yes.
I think that was really something that really bugged me, and it was the car chase scene where that all happens because it's the car chase scene, and then she gets. What did she get? Shot or something? She gets shot.
Shot.
Yeah, so she gets shot, and I was just like, oh fuck her, let her die. Like, get to your fucking. Look, you've got a fucking mission. You've got a job. Just fucking do it.
Plutonium is the mission, right? Is that what you mean? At that point.
Whatever.
Actually, I'm not even sure what the point is.
Or plutonium. I can't really remember.
I forgot about plutonium.
Is the plutonium?
I think the plutonium was fake. It was just a red herring.
Oh God! Jesus,
they called it plutonium, but I think it was just parts of the algorithm. That
was the algorithm.
Yeah, they couldn't explain to them
what
it was.
Because he opens the box and he goes, "Oh, this is what I expected."
Plutonium.
Jesus, man.
But that's the thing, because like, you've got these MacGuffins, the algorithms, and then so what's the point of having false MacGuffins about the MacGuffins?
Just to confuse everyone even more. Jesus, okay.
But
that's a
even whether you love it, you hate it.
Yeah.
If Nolan's sitting here watching this podcast right now, he's rubbing his fingers together. He's like, "Yes,
got talking
about my phone.
I've done what I
talking about my film.
This is what I want.
Exactly.
Talking about.
But I think I don't know.
There's something
the more we talk about it, the more I'm kind of like, okay, yeah.
Okay, there's some.
But I think for me, it's a bit different. Like Tom was saying, I don't want to give this guy another £10. I've got an unlimited cinema. So to be fair, like, I can just go and watch it again. It's not going to cost me anything.
I think you definitely would. I definitely think you should, because I enjoyed it significantly more the second time. I enjoyed it the first time.
But you're even saying now, but like you still don't think you've got all of it.
The ending, I'm still a bit baffled by the
12 times, 12 watches.
Oh, you mean the very ending where he says...
The very ending. No, sorry. No, not that. I get that part. Just the ending battle. It's like, I'm still trying to wrap my head around why half of them have to go in reverse, and I kind of get it because they have to go in reverse. And can we also appreciate the fact that love or hate the film, the fact that 10 minutes on the clocks, each of them, and it gets that 5 minutes mark, and that one shot of the building, what was it, reassembling?
Yeah, reassembling, absolutely.
That was wicked.
That was almost worth the last 5 minutes for hours. Almost.
So awesome. And just some of the visuals, I think, from a ground spectacle.
Oh, it looks amazing.
Absolutely breathtaking. The location scout and the production designer give him a pay rise. Massive pay rise.
I totally agree.
It's all new people as well. It's not people that he's used before.
Yeah, and
so the guy who did the score, which I didn't like at all, it's the guy who did Black Panther.
A bit forgettable. I thought the score. Like, it was missing that kind of.
I'll never forget it. He whacked it
right up to 11. On the organ.
What he has is a really great way of making it not just dramatic, but that theme that sticks with you. That little earworm where you go.
It's like we all know the Joker's theme. We all know Batman.
Gladiator, Dark Knight. Like there's always that kind of. I know that film.
I think you can see from Interstellar.
I just thought of something. There's something that I've kind of linking to in this film, in a bad way, which I've linked to. Remember Star Wars, the Episode 1?
Right, what?
Which got the memes about it, and it was like that kind of, what the fuck is he doing with this?
Yeah.
Obviously it's not Nolan, I know. But there's something to be said about having two actors on screen and using them in a captivating way where you're like really rooting for like something to happen. And you know, there's a really great scene in this where it's Kenneth Branagh and his cat and they're on the boat and you're really like, where's this going? And you don't know if she's going to escape, and like there's so much is relying on Kenneth Branagh at that point. And I think at that point I was really invested in the film, but too much of the time. Do you remember Star Wars 1? There was a lot of this tax haven stuff. They actually brought up the first part of the film is all about there's like some kind of tax problem,
trade embargoes
and all this shit.
That is what kicked off the Star Wars.
When
they bring up the opening credits, some people don't want to pay their taxes.
And you're already like, as soon as you hear that, you're like, I'm bored. Literally, that is
bullshit.
Don't have a clue what you're on about.
Donald Trump, all I'm reading in the news at the moment, he's trying to put sanctions on this, that, what. Maybe he's a Jedi. Like that. Maybe he's actually a Sith Lord.
I believe that.
I'm not going to go into that side of things. It's not got too political, but he's one with the Force. Maybe. Anyway, we've established we don't like side plots. Anyway,
I think that part of the film was really captivating.
So that was another part of the movie that that whole scene on the boat.
Very Bond-like.
But it was also like, it was just really easy to understand.
Yeah.
She needs to sort her fucking life out. Yeah. She needs to kill this geezer.
Yeah.
But she's not sure.
But
whether
she also has to wait
to
a certain point.
Yeah, she's got to wait to a certain point, and also at the same time as her needing to wait, she's also seeing her. Her former self or her future self?
Her past self.
Yeah, so she's seeing her past self. Yeah, she's seeing her past self coming. So she's like, well, fuck, I need to do this shit now. So I appreciated that scene. That was really good. But I just feel like there's too many. I can just cherry pick a few scenes, and that's all I enjoyed.
But as a whole narrative strung together.
All that narrative in between. Like I said so many times, the dialogue for me was just piss poor.
Yes.
That really, really has stayed with me. And like you've obviously said, you've seen it another time, and it's still.
Yeah, I think its biggest problem is that it is a complex, in-depth topic, and you have to explain it to the masses who are not got masters in physics. And it's exposition, and like again, going back to the whole Stan, you're this evil person, you've killed this many people, like you already know this stuff. It's going back to that whole thing. It's like it's smart characters telling smart characters stuff that they already should know. Again, but
it's not helping the audience, right?
It's the turn and wink to the camera.
That's the problem.
But that's why normally, so for example in Inception, they write it in a way that you've got someone like Ellen Page who comes in not knowing anything, so it's perfect because he has to explain to her.
But
whereas in this, everyone always knew. The protagonist doesn't know it.
Yeah.
But rather than explain it to him, they just go, Tenet. I just needed that scene where they had the board and just pointed it.
Exactly.
It really annoyed me as well, like right at the end when he has the meeting with the High Chief Indian.
The lady,
So he has that meeting with her.
There's an example of two characters on screen and you don't give a shit what they're on about every time.
But it really annoyed me because the earlier conversations, when that bungee jump thing as well, that I really like that.
I thought
that was really... because obviously, like we were saying, we're going to liken it to James Bond. You've seen all these different ways that James Bond, or what's Tom Cruise's character?
Mission Impossible, Ethan Hunt.
Ethan Hunt, his different ways of getting into buildings and shit like that. You've seen that stuff.
Yes.
And to see someone
bungee
in and bungee out of the
There was a gleeful little chuckle from Nathan.
Yeah, I did. I really enjoyed that. That was cool.
Yeah.
But the point I was trying to make is that, so he's trying to learn from this woman, like, what the fuck is going on. And then stuff happens, and then the last bit, he has a scene with her. He's like, well, you know, I know everything now. And it's just like, how?
Well, we don't.
I'm literally like, hold up, how have you learned this?
But we don't.
How have you learned this?
That's the problem. You're not Ellen Page. You're not someone clueless who doesn't really.
You're
like
someone clever enough to just be told a bit and then just be like, I've got it.
They always seem like 7 steps ahead of you, the protagonist, which is the person you're relating to. That was the main problem.
I think the characters in Inception, and just because we're talking about that now, are way more memorable.
Yeah.
Again, Nolan famously based each character role in Inception based off like someone on a movie set. So like, I'm trying to remember now. Like Cobbs, he's the director. Ellen Page, she's the
production designer, surely, because she invents the sets.
Yeah, that's right. Production designer.
Architect,
And
JGL would be like the.
What would it be?
The AD, assistant director, surely.
Yeah. You know, all these different roles based on like, so they have their own personality, they have their own roles, they have their own kind of like jobs to do.
Yeah, Kevin would
this one,
like the producer.
Exactly. Yeah, with this
they're
one,
not relatable.
I don't really feel like everyone's.
I
don't really feel like everyone's got. You know, if we're gonna say it to that, I don't feel like everyone in this movie has their part to play.
Yeah.
And everyone's got their job to do. If you took out Robert Pattinson, you could drop anyone in to kind of assist him.
Yeah.
Or you can kind of take that character out and you could
thing
figure out a way
the
to
Pattinson role to me also felt like roles that have been played in previous Nolan movies. Like it felt like the JGL or the Tom Hardy role from Inception, and he just been like a carbon copy and just whack it in.
Yeah, I felt like Tom Hardy had some kind of charm or something that stuck with you. Even like Leo DiCaprio, like everyone in that film was memorable. There's another symmetry actually with Inception, I realised, which is the grandiose scheme of having the hallway scene. There's 2 hallway scenes. There's the hallway scene where JGL is kicking people's ass while everything's spinning, which also in the behind the scenes is incredible. I'm kind of jealous that you got to do that, right? It looked amazing. They did it from like a massive tower, and then they also did it from like a landscape view where the thing is actually spinning.
Rotating kind of thing.
But I actually didn't think this one lived up to that in any way. I thought.
I don't know. It's very different.
I thought and they're going backwards, but at the same time, I thought
it was good, but in different ways.
But
I think the only bit that kind of got me and made me laugh was both forwards and backwards was when the guy when the protagonist is in his full black garb and he's on the floor and he's crawling.
That's right.
To get away, but then when you see it the first time round, you're like, huh, that's really funny. When you see it the opposite way round, it still doesn't make sense. It still looks stupid.
Because I think he's just trying to get to the gun behind him.
But it's the movement that he does. It looks like what is it, like a woodlouse if you flip it
like a beetle.
It looked stupid, and I was like, okay, well, when we see it the other way round, you know, when I figured out that's where they were going, I was like, when we see it the other way round, it won't look stupid.
We both laughed
it
will
make sense. And then it did it again, and I was like,
I thought it was creepy. That's why I had a different reaction. Yeah, I thought
spasming or something.
Yeah.
Weird.
Absolutely.
Do you feel that, like, because of things like Inception and films he's done before, that there's a constant pressure on him to, like,
maybe
you've got to up yourself with the stunts, you've got to do this, and it's always going to be compared to Inception.
That's
because he's always doing tight stuff.
Let's feel really bad for Christopher Nolan. I feel so sorry for him.
For him, like, I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares about I just think every film he's just been like, how do I make the best movie possible for this film?
Or how the fuck do I piss off the audience?
How do I fuck with time?
Because look at Dunkirk, compare that to what came before that, Interstellar.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's a much smaller scale in comparison.
Well, I was thinking actually that if you would take Dunkirk out of the equation, if you went something like Inception, Interstellar than this, that they are getting bigger and bigger and more complex.
Well, it's Inception, Dark Knight Rises, then just than this. So but definitely.
I don't.
But actually, I think what he should do, maybe do like.
I think just strip down, just go and do the mental
basics.
Yeah,
man.
do
I'd like to see him do that.
Do a rom-com. Yeah.
You could probably make a badass.
It would be like a time traveler's wife.
A good film.
Was it about time?
Yeah.
What a great film. I love that film. What a great film.
But no, I think I don't know. You wouldn't say to someone like Christopher Nolan, just go back to basics.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not going to say he's like he should be put out to pasture or anything like that, but just come on. Come on.
But he's probably the only director that gets these sorts of massive amounts of money to make original movies. Like the only other time you'll normally get it is to make a Marvel or DC or something like that. But he no one would even be allowed to make Tenet.
I'm thinking
you'd have to make it on a really cheap budget.
Transformers. What's the director for that?
Michael
Bay. Like he gets a lot.
Yeah, I think.
But when he's doing something like Transformers.
Right. Yeah, what do you get? You get like Michael Bay, Spielberg, Nolan. Maybe there's. I think you could probably name about 5-6 directors who will get a big budget. You won't get a lot.
Yeah, maybe like J.J. Abrams, Joss Whedon. But again, normally they're doing things like Star Wars or Star Trek or something.
Yeah. If you take all the franchises out, like what we've spoken about this so many times. Like if you take franchises out and if you take sequels out or remakes,
okay, good.
There's just no blockbuster.
At least they're original.
Yeah, I think the one appreciation I can have for this movie is
thank God it was original.
At least it's original.
You're right. That's a good point.
It's something different.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, like it really wasn't for me.
At least it's not another.
I think that's one thing that's impressive for me about Nolan is that. Okay, you use Transformers. Yeah, they've got huge budgets, Michael Bay, but like they know it's a franchise that makes $1 billion.
It's going to make money.
It's going to make money. But Christopher Nolan's film sells, like his name sells.
Just
so
that.
To the point that they can make Christopher Nolan can convince an American studio to make a 100% British Dunkirk film for a budget like 150 million, and it made money. And it was amazing. At the box office. Crikey. Like that, his name goes far.
Yeah. I wonder though, because you didn't get quite the caliber of actor in this film. I wouldn't say. I suppose now we've seen Batman, we know Robert Pattinson is really coming along as this big name in Hollywood now. Again, but at the same time, I wouldn't think. I wonder if those actors
massive.
Kenneth Branagh, and I suppose he's already got ties.
If you look at the other bit part players in there, I wouldn't say. No. If we just went through the bit part players in Inception, there's some fucking
I get it.
A-list names.
But some of those names, but you got to remember, Inception was 10 years ago, so when it came out, Tom Hardy wasn't as big as he is now.
No,
so some of those names, and again, John David Washington, he's done Black Klansman, but in 5 years' time, who knows what else he's do.
They're trying to get those up and coming.
And the same with Elizabeth Debicki, she was in Hustlers that came out last year, and she's playing Princess Diana in The Crown. Yeah. So she's really, really coming up.
Wow. In the Hustlers, she plays completely different.
Yeah. Really? What kind of character?
Yeah, completely different character.
What kind of character?
It's all about strippers.
Honestly, just imagine the complete opposite.
Right, okay.
What did you think about Michael Caine's little cameo?
Oh, fuck.
Yeah,
that was like...
That really
great. And he's really getting on now. It felt like he just wheeled him out to make a little English piss take of himself.
It just felt so out of place.
It really annoyed me as well.
And unnecessary as well.
You're eating during this.
Yeah. Paid millions to rock up.
Yeah, I thought that was an unnecessary scene. Another scene that went over my head. Another scene like Star Wars where you're going, sorry, what? Most of the dialogue.
Think about it. It wasn't an unnecessary scene because Michael Caine's character knew what was going on with the whole Tenet thing.
What did he say? Tell me, Mike.
No, that's when he gave his card over and was like, this is you, like, here's my card, go save the world kind of thing. That's obviously where they paid for the plane and things like that. But yes, it could have come out of the CIA's budget. It didn't have to be Michael Caine. But still, it was unnecessary. It was a stretch.
It was.
I still I'm still saying though, I thoroughly enjoyed the film.
Okay, so if we're gonna, I think it's about time.
It's about time, I think so.
Yeah, I'm done. I haven't learned anything.
So
I need to see it again.
We go out of 10s. What are you going to go for out of 10?
I'd still give it an 8.
Yeah,
I'd give it an 8.
Solid 8.
6.5, 6.5.
Stan?
I'm going to go 6.
Really?
Yeah.
I won't be telling you guys what I scored.
It's less than 5, isn't it? Yeah. Because I was being very nice with the 6.
I honestly, talking about it now, it does make me intrigued to watch it.
It makes me want to see it again. You're right.
I think that's only with someone else's enthusiasm
Well, I think because you guys came out thinking the exact same, like, fuck this.
If I go with my gut, I came out and I was like 4 out of 10. Yeah. Honestly, for me, 4 out of 10.
And if you got like an unlimited pass as well, you must have really not liked it.
It really annoyed me. It was more I think the words I tried to sum it up like when I did a tweet about it. It was just pretentious. That was for me, and I hate something like that. That's so I'm going to treat you as an absolute fucking idiot, and you're not going to understand this. I hate that pretentious sort of atmosphere.
This film is for quantum physicists.
Yeah, exactly. It just really bugged me. And, you know, maybe I'll go see it again.
Is it your? Would you say it's your least favourite Christopher Nolan movie?
Ooh, yeah, I definitely would actually.
Give me another one.
Personally, I don't
know what
Dark Knight Rises. I don't like that as much. I preferred it to that.
I don't know what would be
You prefer.
I didn't like Dark Knight Rises as much. It's not a big statement.
What a At least you remembered so much of it. I think with this, I'll always remember little like snippets.
Yeah,
of,
but you're probably going to watch it. Yeah, but you're probably going to
schemes.
watch it again.
I
I'm
think
not going to go to the cinema and watch it.
I think
just
the only
saying,
bit
I'm not
that
going
I think the only bit I remember from Dark Knight Rises that I really like is.
I mean, purely for the action, like I can't give it anything less than like 6.5. Just the action.
I think the action
just amazing.
That's what I mean.
The scenes I can cherry pick out of my memory, and you know the big sets and stuff like that. They're pretty cool, but for me, it was just the dialogue I hated and the plot. I just maybe if I can go watch it and understand the plot, I could.
Honestly, dude, you need someone to literally give you a map of this is what's happening at this point, and like the expanse,
like a handbook that you see there, like
and then you kind of read it through and go, that's why they're doing that. That's why they're running back into the building where the plane crashed, and like. Oh, it was exhausting.
Where would you put it, Mike, in your Nolan?
I don't know. I was just sitting there thinking, like, it's a tough one. I don't know.
What's everybody's top as well, just so I can.
Dark Knight, Inception, and Memento. Then three.
You can't have three, Tom. That's ridiculous.
Find Memento, then Dark Knight.
Yeah,
Inception.
I think Memento for me. I love Inception and I love Dark Knight, but. It's Memento. I think just for me, Memento is. This is so similar in what it tries to accomplish.
Sure.
Obviously, with a really small scale budget and with a large scale budget,
with a tight script. Like it's probably about an hour and a half.
Memento,
40 minutes long.
This is
what Inception?
No,
Memento. Sorry,
yeah. This is the thing as well. Like this. 2.5. It's not a fucking short movie.
Yeah.
Like that was another thing that really grated on me. Like,
it really
drags.
Yeah, I agree.
Point. But yeah, I'd definitely go Memento top for me. That's probably.
I think I'd go Inception.
Inception, I think. I really love Interstellar as well.
Yeah.
But maybe it's because there are some moments in Interstellar where I'm like, this is some of the best scenes I've seen in like cinematic history. Like the docking scene, that's one of the most intense experiences. Those 5 minutes in the cinema, where it's the whole.
It was amazing.
Like,
that was.
You
amazing.
can't dock. It's impossible. No, it's necessary, and it's the music.
It's dramatic. It was building.
It's my favourite score.
That's what he wanted. I feel like
Christopher
Nolan wanted the reaction you had in that scene, in scenes in this film,
and it didn't work. Come out at the same time as kind of like what was it, Gravity and stuff.
Gravity was like
they came out. So I think that's why Interstellar gets a bit lost on me because I'm kind of like, we had Gravity.
Another space film.
And I thought Gravity was, it's not amazing, but like
a good film.
It was a great cinema watch.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Do you know? I would say Inception because I think there was a perfect moment in that film, and I do just think that ending. I've never witnessed a screening where every single person goes at the end, and then it goes to face to black, and you're just there like. Yeah. Oh my god! And everyone's looking at each other like, what?
Yeah,
actually, I have Avengers and not Endgame, Infinity War. That was amazing. That moment where everyone went,
they're all dead. Happens.
Even people who'd read the comics were still just like, what the fuck? They've actually done it.
I love that. I thought that was such a. They need to remember that they need to remember that in comic book films, and I think we should now segue. We've got Dark Knight.
Oh, what a segue! Seamless.
Thank you. So we've got Dark Knight, and I still put it up there as my favourite ever comic book film, which is it will always for me be the one to live up to.
This is the way I see it. Is the Dark Knight yeah, I'd say is the best superhero film that's ever been made. But Endgame on a sheer cinematic kind of experience nothing will come close.
I prefer Infinity War to Endgame.
Yeah, I think I prefer Infinity War. We spoke about this so many times.
I like Empire Strikes Back. I like a downbeat ending.
Yes. I love it when
you like Star Wars 5.
I love it when the bad guys win. It's brilliant.
But it's because when Endgame came out, you're like, I know exactly how I was going to.
We all knew this is a happy ending.
Way more predictable.
For sure. In a way, I was almost upset that they had to be
Yeah.
an Endgame.
But then
Because I love
I
that.
think, to be fair, Endgame really caught you off guard. I don't know about you guys, but within the first 5 minutes of Thanos,
Oh, they kill him.
getting his head chopped off,
Yeah.
I was literally like, like I knew that there was going to be time travel. I knew there was going to be bits, blah blah blah. But when you see Thanos get his head chopped off, because you just, I watched Infinity War and they really did Thanos up.
Yeah.
And then when he gets his head chopped off in the first 5 minutes, you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Wait,
Where's this going then?
Yeah.
They come up with a plan to like defeat him and stop him and establish.
And then just after that, it just suddenly goes to like 3 years later.
That
So
was
it's
so
like,
good.
whoa.
That was amazing.
But I think for me, if I had to pick my favourite cinema
Experience.
cinema
Comic book movie.
comic book movie,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Spider-Man. Any of them.
Any of them.
I-
Even the
apart
Andrew
from-
Garfield.
Even the Andrew
Amazing
Garfield.
Spider-Man 2.
Honestly, for me,
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield, brilliant Spider-Man.
To me,
Too
he's
old.
the most real
No,
Spider-Man.
you can't say
The guy's
he's
too old. Tobey Maguire was about 40 by the end of it. Spider-Man 3.
Everybody's got this little fascination with Tobey Maguire. And I'm just like, well, Andrew Garfield was younger.
He embodied
he got
the
away.
character.
He got away with being a high school student.
Yeah.
But any Spider-Man, I love all of them. I think the only one that pisses me off a bit is 2 with Doc Ock. Even though
That's
I
not
really
my
like
That's
favourite.
the best one.
That's
I
such a good one.
Definitely the best Maguire one.
Yeah, you're
The
definitely the best.
third one was the worst.
Yeah,
first one-
when he
the
goes
first
all
one is the
emo
best.
and he's clicking his down the street.
Yeah. You're like, what's happening now? What's
Yeah,
happened
but
to
you remember that
Spider-Man?
scene so well.
No, but the train sequence in Spider-Man 2,
Yeah,
like
dude,
Doc Ock,
yes.
hands down, like
And actually,
incredible.
even that finale sequence where he's in that kind of
Yeah,
abandoned
yeah.
shipyard thing or whatever it is, that was amazing. I thought it was
Avatar,
a
Spider-Man
great
2 was like,
background.
would have been my favourite comic.
And in fact, the actor that plays him, I thought was really good. I can't
Yeah,
No,
remember
but
his
I
name.
liked
Alfred. Oh, that's it.
the thing that I liked that they did with Amazing Spider-Man that was different to the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man
Yeah.
was the whole Gwen Stacy Mary Jane
my
thing.
God,
So
that was
instead of using Mary Jane, they used Gwen Stacy. And Gwen Stacy in the comics, when she dies, she falls down the thing. And so when
You're like, this is
when they have
happening?
that, I'm like, oh shit, they're doing it like right in front of my eyes. They didn't do it as graphic as what they do it in the comics, but like it's.
Do I dare ask? Do I dare
To be
ask?
fair,
what happened
that
to
was
the
She
comic?
falls down. She falls down a what is it like a bell tower or church?
Yeah,
or
yeah, I know
so
that.
it's quite
but
similar to what happens.
in the-
It really,
She breaks her back.
yeah,
I
neck
think
cracking.
it's like this
film,
like
yeah.
slight dunk, and then you're like,
It all goes quiet.
Yeah, whereas in the film, it's literally he's trying to. He's at the top, isn't he? He's trying to save
trying
it.
to save
Yeah,
it.
that's
Gets the
And
web
he
on
just gets it at
The
the
last-
wrong moment. Yeah,
Miss-
breaks your
misses.
neck and it hits their head or something.
That's
like
it.
that. Goes
So
splat.
Yeah, it's just like,
is it graphic in the?
yeah, no, it's not graphic, but as in like it's.
Stepping on a smart
That's what I'm imagining. Is that what you're saying? Oh my days,
Yeah.
brutal.
But yeah, literally for me, any Spider-Man, I love.
Very surprising.
Spider-Man is my
I think
favourite.
Tobey Maguire.
That's the main thing. If you have got a favourite comic book character, probably regardless, that's going to be like your favourite movie.
Yeah.
If
true,
I wasn't
true.
if I wasn't going to pick that Iron Man one, that is the
That's
fucking
good.
perfect setup movie.
Yes.
for-
Do you think Iron Man 1 would be made today? Because, he's quite sexist, he's quite misogynistic. The whole
Ooh.
Me
Yeah, but
Too
that's the
kind
whole
of thing.
point about Iron Man.
That is the whole point, doesn't matter.
And Bruce Wayne's a bit like
Yeah,
that.
Bruce
as well.
Wayne, Bruce Wayne's
Sure.
like the
Iron Man's
DC
definitely
equivalent.
like just Iron Man 1, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think it would be if it was made today,
I think it would be
it'd
different.
a completely
I think it would
different
still be made.
There'd be
I
jokes
think
in it.
the
That one
Gwyneth
out.
Paltrow character would be a much bigger character, just to be someone to be like
To be
stop
like
being a dick.
feminist and yeah, I get what you mean.
So they just have a better female character.
So it's kind of a shame, really.
'Cause
Like,
even in-
I'd like to say that it
Yeah.
would be the same film, but yeah, that's thinking optimistically. I
Yeah.
think.
It's weird to think that came out the same year as Dark Knight.
Yeah,
Did
dude.
it?
Yeah, both 2008. Big
Iron
year.
Man.
Whoa.
Good year for film. Yeah. Good
Wow.
stuff
Chef's
for
kiss.
film, yeah.
Okay, guys, let's get into it. So we've got the
Yeah.
new
Oh,
release.
or just one more thing, just while I
Go
get
on,
back on the
go on,
Spider-Man
go on.
hype. So
Tom Holland's best Spider-Man.
Tom Holland
Yeah.
in the first one that he does
Yeah.
when he
First
finds,
solo one.
when he finds out
Uh-huh.
that who the villain is.
Oh yeah, he
Oh,
knocks on the
yes.
door.
God.
Genius,
Yes.
brilliant, brilliant.
That
Yes,
literally
yes. That's
when
fantastic.
when you're talking about audible gasps in
Yeah.
the screen.
Yeah.
I can remember a few in my mind, and that was one of them. Literally,
Yeah.
I remember being in a packed cinema.
Yeah.
He knocks at the door to go pick his date up,
It was intense.
and then
Michael Keaton also.
holy shit,
Yeah.
loved it. That was fucking
Good moment.
But because I was so caught up in the whirlwind of the film,
Mm.
right? I didn't really pick up, like, if they did, I'm sure they probably would have put maybe a couple of hints about that, but I didn't really pick it up at all.
What about him being her dad?
About him being the dad.
I've seen it a couple of times now.
Yeah, I was just like, nah, I didn't know. And then when he
know.
did it, it was like, audible gasps, and it was great. Like,
They did well in that.
Yeah.
I feel
That was
like
a great sequence.
Well, it's so good as well because that comes after Civil War, so it's like this massive movie. And I remember being like, "Well, how are they going to do it now?" Because it's something like so much.
I remember in that scene where he's there, and you know he's trying to put the corsage on and stuff like that. I remember sweating. I was
really?
oh fuck,
In the car as well. When
yeah,
he's
in
putting
the
the
car,
pieces
so
together
tense.
slowly.
Yeah.
It was like,
And
where
Jason's
was
so
you?
good at it
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
I was there. No, oh, but you disappeared. Oh, where'd you disappear? Oh no, I was there. Yeah. And he just and then he gets to the stop sign and it goes from what was it? And then the red light comes on. And it's
He's looking up in his rearview mirror as well, and you can just see like his eyes and stuff.
And then it goes green when he realises that moment. Like,
I love that.
Quick side note,
Yeah.
since we're talking about Spider-Man, I just watched Venom because it came on Netflix.
Yeah.
What did you think of that film?
It's alright.
no.
All right. See, I kind of feel. Do you know? I was saying we watched it together.
Yeah.
I was saying.
I prefer Tenet to that. I'll tell you. That's what I'll say.
I think for me, it depends what you want to take it as. If you want to take it as like straight up, this has to be like a comic book movie.
Yeah.
I watched it within the first half hour. It had me laughing.
It's a joke.
So I took it as more of a comedy.
It's getting a sequel and it made a load of money.
Yeah,
No, I'm not saying like I thought it was.
comedy.
I'm not saying I thought it was a comedy film.
Yeah.
You took it as a comedy.
I took it as a comedy.
Okay, right.
Because I was laughing at
Picture
really
stuff.
stupid
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So I was like, that's
It is ridiculous.
It is stupid, but like the whole Tom Hardy and the whole the Venom aspect of it, I thought.
Do you know?
So
So
funny.
I was saying to Mike, I thought about. I guess if it's a 2-hour film, an hour and a half of that film is riveting and really exactly what I wanted from it. Because I like the fact you got this kind of drawn out Tom Hardy. You got this kind of like he always kind of like. He is that character. Do you know what I mean? He really is that character, and I loved that he was finally in the comic book universe. I think, like, of all the actors, he worked in it. But then that last half hour, dude, there's just all this, just Venom against another Venom, and as soon as you see that that's going to happen, as soon as you see, oh, there's a bad Venom, another Venom, it's like all those scenes.
You know, it's just going to be a CGI ball for
just shit. Like you can just close your eyes.
His motivation as well in the film, the bad guys, is like, right, I want to destroy the planet. Why? Because I'm bad. Yeah. Oh, but why? Oh, because like the planet's dying. Oh, why is the planet? Oh, because humans are destroying the planet. Oh, I guess I have to destroy the humans. That's such an overdone kind of.
I think I did. I think
cliche.
I kind of
Made no
sided with the villain as well because you're like, yeah, humans are dicks actually. Aren't they? Let's fucking get rid of them.
Yes, Team Thanos.
Yeah. Destroy half the planet.
I was actually pro Thanos.
Yeah.
You won't.
Hashtag Thanos did nothing wrong.
He didn't.
He's a good guy, really.
So
Good guy,
I'm
Thanos.
presuming you wanted to go into discuss our
Yes, we have a couple of DC releases coming up, don't we? So we've got Batman coming out with Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, we got our first look of that as well, and that.
A quarter of the film's been done as well. Only a quarter of the film's been shot.
What do you
Probably got shut down because of...
What do you guys think of like the first look? Presumably you've seen
Can I
it.
just say I feel like it's the closest thing, based on first look, that first trailer, the closest thing we're ever going to get to David Fincher directing a Batman. Just from a visual aspect and the tone
in itself.
It really reminded me of like Seven. Man.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Very exciting.
That's kind of like that dark, kind of like contrasty film with like nice saturation here and there.
Let's do this all again. Okay, so yes. First thoughts. Yes.
Brilliant. I think it looks fantastic. So I'm sold.
I'm excited, but it's Batman. I'm never going to not go and see a Batman movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, okay. So whatever it was, you were
even if it looked fucking awful,
invested.
like I'd be like, huh,
Yeah,
like, that'd be fun
it's
to
a
go
fair
see.
point.
But like I said, I'm already invested because I've got a cinema card. Like I'm.
Oh, fuck you and your cinema
No, but I'm saying like for me to not go and see a movie, I either have to be really preoccupied
against
busy,
it, you have to
or
be
it
against
has to be really crap.
And
for
considering
example,
what you've got going on at the
New
moment.
Mutants. I'm really like I want to go, but I really don't think it's worth my time.
Bad. Okay,
I'm going to see
it gives you
It's only 90 minutes as well. Like,
I read somewhere that apparently when they got the first cut of that film in the cutting room, apparently Fox were seriously considering reshooting the entire film.
the whole thing.
And then because of COVID, they just went, fucking just drop it.
Yeah, they literally just wanted to reshoot. I think they should have done not the Mulan thing, But that's a topic for another
We'll
day.
get into that.
But they should have just dropped it straight.
Yeah, dropped it on Disney Plus. Yeah.
Just dropped it straight on there.
Especially it would have made a load of money during like COVID times. Everyone's at home.
Yeah.
I guess the idea is that they know that Mulan, to some degree, there's some interest there. It's going to make lots and lots of money.
Nah, they're idiots on that.
They fucked that right up.
I think it's an experiment.
By the way.
They've shown the thing is they've shown their hand now because I saw a lot of people.
Awful, just a terrible frame.
I saw a lot of people saying, you know, they were contemplating buying it, and now obviously Disney have shown their hand by being like, oh, well, the film's going to be on Disney Plus for free in December.
Yeah.
A lot of people now have backtracked and been like, well, I'll just wait till December.
Yeah, this is it.
We were talking about
It's
this.
a terrible strategy anyway.
We were talking about this last week or the week before, and we said, you know, they're obviously trying to see whether it is a viable option.
Can they make money
And
out of
I
that?
personally, for me, I want to be selfish a bit. No, I hope they don't.
Absolutely.
I hope they lose money on it.
Definitely.
Because
I'm
I
definitely a
want
cinema
cinema.
guy.
Yeah, I want cinema to still
Also,
continue.
I spoke to a lot of
don't want them
people.
to make money.
I've got a few
And
like
it's completely
Asian friends
unoriginal.
who I spoke to, and they were talking about how for them Mulan was going to be like how Black Panther, God rest his soul, was for like African Americans. This was like our representation, and then now suddenly it's like it's
so
been
excited.
shunted onto Disney Plus. So it's almost a bit of a piss take, but like you know, the first big live action of that.
Yeah.
I think the price of it is bullshit as well. Like
$30,
if you've got
right.
if you've got
pounds,
so you've got $30 in America. It was £19.99, £20
Right.
in the UK.
Yeah.
If you've got a family with 3 or 4 children, and there's 4 or 5 of you in the household or whatever, then fine. Like £20 to spend on a movie is not that bad. But if I were to if I turn on Sky now, we can go on Sky Store. I can get a movie for £5, maybe £10 at a push. If it's a brand new movie, like that Scoob movie that was meant to come out in the cinema, and they brought it out onto Sky, I think it's £10. Why am I going to fucking spend £20 on something I already paid a subscription? That's the thing that really annoys me. You already pay your £6 subscription,
It's just
or
a
you've
scary
already
one.
paid your £50-60 for a year, and then you're going to have to pay another £20 for the movie. No, fuck
Because
off.
we were saying it would open the door for Netflix then going, we'll do that, everybody else jumping on that.
Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
well actually,
It's an
this is a big
experiment.
release, so
I just want the experiment to fail and die, so that it can be
we just
proven
have to
like
pay.
that is not a viable option.
Yeah.
You know, new films have to come out in the cinema.
Yeah.
If you want to go and see it, you will go fucking see it. And you know, we've
Yeah.
got 4 of us here.
Yeah.
We've all gone and seen Tenet.
Yeah.
We've all bothered to make.
The other thing as well, like to be qualified for like awards for Oscars and stuff like that, you need to be brought out in the cinema first. It's more like the Irish one and stuff. They came in at cinema and then they'll come out on Netflix. So there's like rules about. I think they've changed it this year.
for this year and this year
COVID.
only, and they've explicitly said that it will be for this year and this year only.
Okay.
But yeah,
makes sense.
that's why you get Netflix films that go to cinemas for like five days. Or
Yeah,
something
literally, it's
like
like
that.
5 days, 20 cinemas. That's all they need, and then they'll go into Netflix.
Big up Marriage Story.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, sorry, yeah, exactly.
Love
Manchester by the Sea and all that. Love.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad. Oh, that's what I was going to high five is because they dropped it. They dropped the charge, and it's because they saw our podcast. I think that's why.
Yeah.
But you don't get a high five.
And he's going to re-edit Tenet. So.
Yes.
Yeah, you get a
Well,
vicious
felt that
high
bass.
five.
Okay, so we were talking about
Yes.
Batman.
What? Okay, so where did we get to? You'd said that
Yeah,
anything.
I'm up for it. I'm up
Anything
for any
Batman.
Yeah.
See, I actually didn't think that because
Batman's-
I was
Batman's
already
my
a
favourite
little
DC.
lost. Yeah, I know. I was a little. Wait. Oh, favorite DC, right?
Yeah, DC.
I had. I'd already kind of sold out on it.
Yeah, you were.
Batman's
I think for you,
for
I
Ben
was-
Affleck, I was
Affleck.
already like,
Yeah.
this isn't cutting the mustard for me. I kind of like dabbled with it, didn't like it at all. What did you think?
So I was kind of similar to you. So after Justice League, which was shit and all that stuff, I was just like, and when they were doing this so quickly, Justice League was what 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I was like, give it some time, let it settle a bit.
Yeah.
But no, I really like the trailer. I really liked. I'm a big fan of our Pats.
So you're
And
excited
again, I
for it?
love Fincher. Yeah, it just looks dark, looks gritty.
Yes.
You know what's going on with Colin Farrell.
Doesn't look like him at all.
No, that's like,
Makeup is great.
Strange choice of actor if he looks that different, right?
yeah.
Do we reckon that's Riddler at the beginning though? I think that's the
Yeah,
obvious
Paul Dano.
kind of like the whole green and things that whatnot. That's
I
going
hope
on.
it's Riddler because I think
So
he's a fantastic villain.
I'm really excited about Riddler because obviously the first incarnation, or
Jim Carrey.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, it is
Carrey.
the first incarnation. Yeah, you see Jim Carrey.
It's a bit
Yeah.
cheesy.
Gone for that kind of
Gone for
literally
Jim
comic
Carrey.
book
Gone
kind
for
of,
it.
It's
cheesy.
gone for the it's gone for that kind of
Goofy.
cheesy
Yeah.
look. But you know, if you look into the comics with the Riddler and stuff like that, he's a dark motherfucker when he wants to be.
Yeah.
So I'm quite. I like that we're going to see, like you said, we're going to see like a Fincher version,
Yeah.
and we're going to see a Fincher, Riddler
So,
is really good.
Paul Dano's a great actor as well.
I'm
Yeah,
so
it's
glad
great.
Paul Dano's being used, finally. That's another one
Especially-
where, like Aaron Taylor-Johnson, where
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, oh, he's on
Yeah.
screen again, go on then.
Especially when you see him in like There Will Be Blood
There Will
and
Be Blood,
Prisoners and
fantastic.
things like that.
Mm.
Prisoners
Yeah.
especially.
Business
Yeah,
is
so
really
good,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
You
good
know,
on that.
two great.
Little Miss Sunshine.
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, exactly.
But I think, for me, I looked at this trailer and I could only see The Dark Knight. I was just thinking, it's so similar in so many aspects, and I think it just shows you
Just
that
like
we've-
tone and like
yeah, the
graphics,
tone,
yeah.
like the way he looks, the way he's got the kind of similar voice, the vibe is very similar. Do we know if this is going to be like an R-rated film? Is it going to
No, I
be?
doubt
I
it.
doubt
I
it.
doubt it.
Like that's the thing. I
Don't
would
feel
really
those.
love that, just so it's different, just so we got something different.
Mm.
But I'm a little
Presumably it'll be
fearful.
12.
Actually,
yeah.
It'll probably be a 12, like
Yeah.
Dark Knight. So I'm a little fearful that we've come full circle, that we've
Yeah.
gone, oh, we
So
tried
there's that
this,
scene when
this
he
didn't
beats
work.
the shit out of that
Yeah,
guy
that's
in the
what I'm
trailer.
thinking.
Like,
Yeah.
really,
Oh,
like,
shit, it's
smacked
still
that
hitting
guy.
it.
I think
Yeah.
you can.
It's
I think you
athletic,
can
that
get
one.
away with a lot more now than what you could have
Yeah,
done
yeah.
like 10, 15
Oh.
years
I
ago.
think the general rules are, and remember, Batman's not meant to kill people anyway. So the general rules
Okay,
are, as long
I
as
see what
you
you
don't
mean.
see any blood, but he
Yeah.
can
As long
beat
as you don't see any
people.
blood, and
Okay.
also you can get away with like one shit or one.
Yeah, you're allowed one
F
fuck.
word,
Yeah.
F word.
You
That's
can
why in all the X-Men movies there'll be like a Wolverine cameo and he'll tell them to fuck off or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
allowed one.
One
See,
F word.
that's a
But then,
good
yeah, that's the
mention.
thing. Like, so you bring up,
Wolverine.
so you bring up
Right.
Wolverine, and obviously you were talking about R-rated. So
What
you
a film.
tell the difference between X-Men, fucking
Mm.
Origins, or pick any fucking.
Yeah.
Wolverine.
They got a bit
Like a
silly.
Logan.
Everyone's dying.
So they-
to see
they got
some fucking
overdone
film.
and they got
then you
silly.
see Logan.
Yeah.
Oh my
It was
god.
Logan.
different. It made lots of money as
And it
well.
was
Maybe
incredible.
that's what we're gonna get in maybe like 10, 15 years though. Because
Fingers
how
crossed.
many different incarnations have we seen of fucking
Yeah.
Batman?
But also, like,
no one's gone.
Joker only came out like last year.
Last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah,
This
it was
is
on the
true,
Oscars,
yeah.
and that was like alright, and that made loads of money.
See, that is a very good example. That's what I'm hoping they could do with this, but
Yeah.
of course they're trying to make the money. So I think it's just for me. As soon as I saw the trailer and saw the massive hype behind it, I was
Yeah.
like, "This is the state of where we are now," especially with DC films. In fact, not with DC films, because it shows you that you can fuck up massively.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
get to the point where everybody really just goes, "DC films are a bit naff now."
Yeah.
Like everybody kind
And
of
then they
agrees.
bring out Aquaman, it makes $1 billion.
Yeah.
And they still go
Shazam
silly.
was really good as well.
It's like-
Avengers
Yeah, Shazam
Joker.
was good,
It
yeah.
shows you how desperate
Yeah,
we've
Joker.
got for that. That kind of like, we know that comic book films are kind of sell and that we're all mostly invested. But it just shows that like we can go exactly what they've done before, and people will still go, "Oh my god, I can't wait
Yeah.
to see this." For me,
They're
it was
making,
like,
they're making a
oh.
Flash movie with the same guy as the Flash, and
and
Michael Keaton's back.
Michael
And they've got,
Keaton,
they've
Ben
got,
Affleck,
haven't they
yeah.
got, like
Yeah.
3 different.
So there's going to be 3 different Batmans going on. There's going to be Pattinson, Affleck, and Michael Keaton. all
Yeah.
playing
Because they haven't
Batman.
confirmed that Patterson's going to be in the Flash. Oh
No,
yeah,
no.
sorry, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
now.
yeah, just in general.
Yeah, in
like,
general.
pop
But
culture.
Ben Affleck for years he's been saying he's going to drop out as Batman. He's not doing Batman anymore. This,
Yeah.
that, whatnot.
But
And
he's
now
still-
he's come back in the Flash, and it's obvious what they're going to do, kind of thing. He's going to go back in time.
Uh-huh.
Flash is going to go back in time. Fuck something up, and when he goes back in time, hang on a second, why is Ben Affleck Rob Pattinson now?
Yeah.
And it'll probably, he's obviously messed something up in time.
"Oh, you think they're on the
And that's-
same storyline?"
And that's how I think they're gonna, because Ben Affleck for years.
Oh, it's either
has
that or
said-
multiverse, surely. That's the only
Yeah,
two.
yeah, exactly. And I think they're going to use that as their opportunity to reboot,
Reboot.
everything they've done and start from fresh now.
I'm really hoping that Marvel will take a leaf out of that and do Spider-Man. Like, do the Tobey
Yes.
Maguire, Andrew Garfield.
They've been talking about it for years, yeah.
Please.
I
'Cause
feel
they-
like
they
I
showed
feel
with,
like you'll be disappointed.
They showed with Into the Spider-Verse that
Spider-Verse,
they could
yeah.
do an older Spider-Man as well.
Love that. Imagine
Yeah,
Tobey
yeah.
Maguire with the
I
little
love
pot
that
belly.
so
Like,
Wouldn't
yeah,
that be
yeah.
Tobey Maguire with a little pot belly. He's trying to struggle to get his
Yeah.
spotlight.
Slipping
Fucking
on.
brilliant.
Rocking chair.
Now's the time to do it if they're going
Yeah.
to do it, kind of thing.
I'd love
I
to see that.
think people are a lot more open to it now. Like
We'd
with,
be invested, wouldn't we?
you know, with when you've had Endgame and when you've had Tenet.
Yeah, yeah.
I think people are a lot more open to that kind of thing.
They're going to
I-
introduce the concept of the multiverse because they've got Doctor Strange coming out soon,
Yeah.
and it's like
And that's
madness
all about
Madness of the
multiverse.
multiverse. Yeah.
Introduce it slowly, this, that,
Yeah.
whatnot. Which is why, if you look at the DC slate, that's what I think this is what I'm saying about the Ben Affleck recasting,
Yeah.
is that wind back a little bit. They rushed everything and they did Justice League, and it's all these characters that, for the most part, people don't know who Aquaman is, Wonder Woman.
Yeah, right.
And so this, that, and you're like, oh, this is not making sense, kind of thing. But you look at the DC slate now, it's Batman's going to come out, and then right after that will be the Flash and Batman's origin story recast. So that if they did Flash first, and it was like, hang on, new Batman, Rob Pattinson, that was this guy.
Yeah.
But now it's like they're doing the
Maybe,
origin
yeah.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then and they're going to advertise it's part of a different universe, this, that, or not. So they've already said that Joker's part of a different universe, it's not related to Batman.
Yeah.
Justice League's over here, and this, that, or not. It's all different.
Suicide Squad.
It's going to get really
Suicide
confusing.
Squad's a different universe as well.
Yeah. Did you see that? Did you see that as well?
What?
They did like a little teaser.
A little teaser of Suicide
Squad.
That
The James
looked
Gunn
good.
one.
Oh, I didn't see that yet. So tell me what am I missing?
Nothing really.
No?
I thought
just
it looked-
James
So
Gunn
this is
thought
Suicide
It's
Squad.
a
Yeah.
teaser, it's not showing.
It's behind the scenes footage.
Yeah, it's just
now.
James Gunn.
In-
Oh, also
Introducing
James
the
Gunn
characters.
saying how it's like the best ever movie he's ever worked on. It's like,
Oh,
mate,
I
you
did
did
see
Guardians.
that.
Come on, you're just saying what you've got told to say.
He was just trying
I
to
think
sell it.
I think the one good thing about him is that at least it's going to have like a decent fucking
Gonna be fun.
soundtrack.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's going to be fun. It's going to have a good soundtrack.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
going to see
just
some shit.
Look at the lineup
It's a
of
risky
characters
one,
kind
I
of thing.
think.
They've obviously picked the most obscure characters in the Suicide
Yeah.
Squad DC lineup. It's like Polka Dot Man. And
He's just doing it as a
some of the
joke.
other ones.
Also-
It's ridiculous. Like characters, but like James Gunn obviously kind of, I have faith in him. He's made 2 good Guardians films and he's got a history.
One and a half.
Yeah, 1.5. I'll give you that. They're both on par with each other.
Whoa.
Guardians,
I'll give you
What
that.
films are we talking about, sorry?
Guardians.
Guardians.
Oh,
Guardians,
Yeah,
right,
1.5. I'll give you 1.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows how to handle a bunch of like misfit characters and have them come together.
And I think it seemed to me that he was saying they've given me so much money. It's been so fun to just use
Yeah.
everything
It worked out
I
alright
want.
for him, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, 'cause he's still getting Guardians free after.
Exactly.
And then he's going back across the
Yeah.
other
yeah,
side.
yeah.
So everyone, right now after this podcast, go
Yeah.
out there and do controversial tweets. In 10 years' time, it'd be great for your career.
Good idea. Very good idea.
But yeah, so they've done that. So they did the Batman, Suicide Squad, and Black Adam.
Black Adam.
Did they release any like footage of that?
No.
Just an
But
animated.
it just like a little animated thing of
Yeah.
how
Dwayne
he's
Johnson.
how he's
With
come
pointy ears.
Yeah.
how he's come to pass.
I know
But
nothing about this.
I haven't got a clue either.
Oh,
but
right,
it's
okay.
The Rock.
It's
like,
something that the Rock
It's
wants
like
to do
Rock in
for
a comic
ages.
book
Yeah,
movie.
it's the Rock with pointy ears and black.
Yeah.
It's Shazam costume, but black.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it ties in with Shazam. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ooh, okay.
So
Interesting.
imagine him in spandex with pointy ears.
But like, he's been trying to get it made for ages.
Yeah.
I'm sold though. Like,
Yeah.
just the Rock in a comic book movie. I'm like, yeah, I'm there.
It's just gonna be,
Can't
The
even happen,
Rock.
though.
I'm not the biggest fan of him.
Mm.
Same as a Jason Statham film. Same as a Liam Neeson action film. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I've fucking seen this.
I don't know.
Liam
Liam Neeson
yeah.
had that. So when they did Taken, and then they did Taken 2,
Oh.
he then did like, what was it? The one with the wolves. The one.
Oh, the Grey.
The
one
Grey.
on the-
Grey, yeah, that was
Non-stop.
Right.
The one on the
Non-stop
plane.
on the
So it's
plane.
like,
Yeah.
right, how many
The one on the
situations?
train.
It's a bit like Bruce
commuter.
Willis. How many
Yeah.
situations can we put you into?
Exactly, yeah.
Very true.
But yeah, I don't know. I think for me, The Rock, like, he's the highest paid actor
Yeah.
in Hollywood or
Because he
whatever.
says
it is.
yes to a lot of
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. He
Yeah.
makes like 4 films a year.
But he,
Yeah.
he produces a lot of stuff as well.
Does he
now.
really?
So he's in charge a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
so he gets invested.
But you know what you're getting into when you go and watch Dwayne,
Yeah.
and that's probably why people go and see those films. Because right, it's a Dwayne Johnson film. I know I'm going to enjoy
Yeah.
it because it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's going to be ridiculous. I'm going to beat a bunch of people up and get a helicopter with a big chain and put it into a mountain. Kind of thing, you know?
You're not coming out about like
Exactly,
10 in, like, what's that about?
Yeah.
They know they're going to
Skyscraper.
get like, just like mindless kind of fun
Yeah.
action kind of.
He does do like really similar stuff sometimes though. Like I mean, obviously they did Jumanji, then they did
Yeah.
Jumanji 2,
I
and
like
then
that,
at the same time as Jumanji 2 was coming out, they did
Oh.
like what was it? The boat ride thing. He was in something else as well, and it looks wise, it looked exactly the same
Oh,
as
yeah.
the second Jumanji film. And I
Okay.
was just like, why?
Oh,
Right,
it's
that's
Jungle.
actually something
Is it Jungle Cruise or something?
Yeah, Jungle Cruise.
Yeah.
As it
Jungle
literally
Cruise.
like just by the trailer and the posters, you're like, this
Is that
is
just
the
Jumanji?
exact same as
Yeah,
Jumanji.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I think there's a big difference. You know, I was actually listening to one of Kevin Hart's audiobooks, and he mentions that he had a decision in his career where it's either I go for something where it's just exactly the same as what I have been doing. You know, he's very good in those comedies that we all know that he's done. But there's a decision that where he went, I'm going to say no to this. I'm going to wait for something where it develops me as an actor. I feel like I'm coming along and learning a new skill. Whereas with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, I feel like so much of it is like yes every time. Like it's like Nick Cage or something.
Yeah,
like that.
well, you go back a few
I was-
years, go back about 5 years, and he was doing like films like Tooth Fairy.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
He
true.
did some shit.
He did those
Some
family
terrible
friendlies, and I read
film.
the story behind it. And apparently, he had a producer who, agent, who was just like, right, mate, this is exactly what you need. You don't want to be cast as the guy who just punches bad guys.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be bad for your career. And eventually, he did films like Tooth Fairy, and he ended up fine as agents because it was like, I'm being made a fool. And he just did what he did.
He
well,
works as a
and
comedy
I'm gonna
actor.
punch someone in the face.
True.
So,
I think you can either go like the Nicolas Cage route and like how many
Straight to
films has he got?
DVD.
Like,
How
Jesus
weird is
Christ.
it? How many trailers
he's
you
making
hear
a film
about?
at the moment about himself. He's
Yeah,
playing
Nick
Nicolas
Cage,
Cage.
Nick Cage.
Yeah.
No, really?
But he literally
What's it called?
says he must say yes to
It's in
everything.
development.
How interesting. He's
He
playing
must literally
himself.
just say yes to absolutely anything
There
that
was.
gets shoved on his desk.
Yeah,
There was
definitely.
a time where he did because he went bankrupt.
Yeah, he went bankrupt.
Everybody knew
because
about
he's
it.
got really bad like.
Juicy.
He bought like a castle in like Bath in England or something like that. And just
Couldn't pay the
assumed that he'd be Nicolas Cage forever. And he was like, nah, these films are shit.
Oh,
So he just had to sign up to everything.
What an
Thought
error.
National Treasure would be like this huge franchise for decades.
They're making another one though.
Oh, actually?
Yeah, because
Really?
it was a Fox property, and
I-
Disney now have the rights to it. And they were
I
I
like,
like it.
I like National
yeah.
Treasure. That's good
I
fun.
like
they were
Treasure.
good fun. I enjoyed
Yeah.
those as well.
Yeah,
I even like the second one.
Yeah, I enjoyed the second
I
one.
think very
And they set up for a
special.
third one, they just never got
Yeah.
around to doing it.
Oh,
But
fair
now
enough.
Is this the third one or is this different?
they're going to do a third one. Now.
Oh, cool.
Disney
With
can
Nicolas
actually-
Cage?
Yeah, I
I
presume
think
so,
people
yeah.
will see it. I think people will see it. I still think we got like it ends up going back to what we said. I'm just glad they're still making like original films, and thank God that Tenet was a original film. Thank goodness.
Absolutely. But not being funny, it's those big comic book films and those remakes, and it's those Disney like we're going to do The Lion King again. That then goes on to make $1.5
This is the
billion.
problem.
But that's
With
what's
Disney,
paying
yeah.
for those original films.
Yeah.
It's what's paying for those
Exactly.
Martin
Okay,
Scorsese
good
mob
point,
films.
Mike.
kind of
At
thing.
least don't
That's
buy
what-
into Disney, where it just seems like that all they're trying to do is like get those little extra dollars.
Oh, they are,
so
unquestionably.
they can
but
so they can just remake the same shit we've seen a million times.
Yeah.
But it does show you also if you got your name, if you got Batman on a film, that's gonna always sell. People will
there's
always
some
be hyped.
titles for sure.
And especially try and make it sound dark and gritty, even though it might not be. I'm kind of a little. I'll reserve my judgment. I'll go and see it, and then we'll see.
Yeah.
But then you've also got if you got Star Wars on a film, definitely gonna make a lot of money, regardless of what it is.
Yeah.
And I've bought out of that now. Mandalorian. I've just been like, nah.
I think it gets.
That's
I do
great.
think it gets saturated though. Like when Solo came out, I think a lot of people were like this is fucking too much. Too much Star
And
Wars.
they've noticed that
It's
as
not
well.
fun-
As
it's not
well
fun
with the
anymore.
numbers.
That's
You
why
look
they
at the
paused it.
numbers.
Mm.
Episode 7 came out, $2 billion at the box office. Episode 3 came out, it was like 1.5, I think it was.
Yeah.
Episode 3. Episode 8
Oh yeah.
came out, 1.5 billion.
Uh-huh.
And then the latest one's come out, it's just about scratched $1 billion.
Really?
And even to the point now where Catherine Kennedy? She's turned around and been like, yeah, we're
Let's
pausing
put
for a
the
bit.
brakes
We need to put the
Really?
Because it's
brakes
not
on.
exciting anymore. If you know there's a Star Wars movie
Boring.
coming out,
It's
like,
boring.
yeah.
We're all
It's just
seeing it
way
so
too much. It was year
Just
after
an
year
even
after
bigger
year.
round thing for us to blow up.
Exactly.
Exactly. And now they're just focusing on their TV projects. So
Yeah.
you've got, Mandalorian season 2 coming out. They're doing the Obi-Wan kind of series as
that
well.
was comic
So
for
that'll be quite interesting.
Yeah.
I really think cinema needs a good heist movie. I haven't seen a good original heist movie for a while. I think
Inception.
we saw
That's the last one I can think
Widows.
Yeah, Widows is a good heist
Widows.
movie.
That was probably the last really.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say really good one. That was pretty decent. But I love a good heist movie. Something like Lockstock or Snatch or something like that.
Yes. Okay. A good Guy Ritchie film. Actually, The Gentleman's fucking awesome. Does that count as a heist film? Not really.
Not really.
Nah.
Gangster
I
movie.
just need a really good we're gonna go steal this.
Get the
because we
gang
just
together.
want it.
Yeah.
Like, they should fucking do it.
Yeah.
You need Ocean's 11.
I guess that's what
top tier.
Ant-Man was as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was a bit like that with Ant-Man.
Yeah, I was at first.
I
Yeah.
like
Like
the
the
second
second one I
one's
thought was crap.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
first
one's
one-
great.
first
Actually,
one,
I
I
really
heard everyone-
enjoyed the first one. When I saw the first one, I was like, I think it depends how you walk into it as well. Like when you were talking about Venom, if you look at it as this is gonna be a straight list superhero movie. No, fuck that. Like it's got Paul Rudd in it. Like it's gonna be.
It actually was surprisingly good, and I didn't.
And they were
I
taking
actually
the piss
heard-
out the more like my name's Ant-Man, like can we just change the name? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
They knew what it was and they played into it.
Yeah, that's what Marvel do so beautifully.
Yeah. Second
every
one I
time.
thought was just a bit
Like with Doctor Strange, I'm excited to see that. I think Marvel, they have a different way of doing it, and it's not risky, but it really works, and it's always engaging.
Doctor Strange is now done by the Spider-Man guy, Sam Raimi.
Sam Raimi, yeah. Multiverse, Sam Raimi, different Spider-Mans, same universe. Who knows?
My fingers crossed.
Who knows?
Did you like the multiverse
I thought it was brilliant.
movie.
It won the Oscar, didn't it, for best animated
it's
movie?
fucking hilarious.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. I think. Do you think they'll get Joker to come into Batman in any way?
I think
Not
Joaquin
anytime
Phoenix wants
soon.
to
You
do it.
don't think you'll
What,
do it?
not
'Cause I've heard
Not
that as well.
anytime soon.
Not are you on about Joker as in Joker from last year?
Joaquin Phoenix, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't think that's...
He's an actor. I
that's
think he basically
There's
signed
rumours
up on the
still.
proviso.
Yeah.
I'm just making this
It was
movie.
a
I'm
So
not
he's-
doing a massive
okay.
picture deal.
You've got
'Cause he was
Nicolas Cage, you've got Joaquin
Joaquin
Phoenix.
Phoenix
Like
picks his project.
they're literally
Both won an Oscar, though.
DiCaprio.
Yeah, they're both on
Both won an Oscar.
Yeah.
But
Leonardo
like,
DiCaprio, where they pick their project.
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix, he was offered Doctor Strange originally, but he turned it down because he had to sign up for a multi-deal picture.
Because he's Marvel, it's like for all
Marvel,
this.
yeah,
So he's really
So he
against
turned it
that.
down. So yeah, like you were saying with the Joker, you know, he was probably advertised to him as a one picture, one only.
Yeah.
It's
Don't
why
sign
so
up.
many
Yeah, sure.
like actors they sign up as villains. Because
Right.
generally it's one movie.
Yeah.
So you've got people like Jake Gyllenhaal who's just in the one Spider-Man movie. You've got like
I
Ben
love
Kingsley who's just
Or
in Iron Man
is
3.
he?
Oh,
Or is
yeah.
he?
Don't say is he.
You know, I was actually really looking forward to the end of Venom because Eminem did the soundtrack. Did you hear that song? And it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Venom.
Venom.
It was so funny. But he killed it on that track. I was gonna say, like, as a last roundup, should we shift it to music and just go? What have you been listening to in 2020 that has gone? This is my favourite thing this year.
Nothing.
Anything? But what about Shikari? Surely that's your favourite album this year. I'm here giving you
Has
the
that
answer.
been this year?
4 months ago.
Was it?
Yeah.
I guess so. I don't know. I think this year for music's kind of been a bit of a blur.
Okay.
Because I usually listen to music while I'm out and about or when I'm driving. And
Yeah.
I haven't really done a lot of that this year because of.
Well, also, maybe that says something for the charts. I don't think I've heard anything engaging for the charts for a long time. But I did want to say...
Everything's too dubstep and
mumble rappy.
or
Fucking Nicki Minaj and Takeshi 6ix9ine had a track apparently I saw a clip from. I was like, oh god, has it really got to this? Where they're just she's twerking and he's just being like, ugh.
I've always got 80s playing in my car.
Yeah, just 80s. Mike's an 80s
sim,
guy.
Late at night, driving.
Nice.
I'll be listening in the car on the way home
The
later.
Weekend then. What do you think of
That's
that album?
interesting. It's a slow down take on me, isn't
It
it?
is,
Yeah.
isn't it?
It's a slow down take on me.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anything on your behalf?
Well, we spoke on the way here of the new Biffy album. I think it's fantastic.
Biffy,
yes,
yes.
I've
Such a great
heard
album.
the two singles they brought out.
Space
from
was one we said.
Space was
Yeah,
incredible.
they're really really great.
Yeah.
But like I
Good
think,
album.
I think with Biffy, like you're usually nailed on to.
To be
it's
fair,
gonna be pretty
they're
good.
pretty solid, aren't they? They
Yeah.
don't have many bad
I think
ones.
that they've brought out albums where maybe you've only got sort of like 2 or 3 real bangers, but the rest of the album's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, that is a very good point with that album. I listened to the entire thing and Space is like a standout hit.
Yeah.
And it's quite a pop song, isn't it, really? But then everything else is it goes from, I think, quite light to quite heavy. So it is a kind of like progressive album. I thought it was amazing.
I think
But
again,
they always have that one single, don't they?
yeah, I think like what Nathan said as well. Like people listening to music in different ways this year because you're not, you're not getting on your commute. You're not doing
Very
this.
true,
You're not doing
very
anything.
true.
Absolutely.
The other one I said, Run the Jewels. They had a new album out.
Ooh, did
The
they?
hip-hop album's banging.
Ooh, nice.
Absolutely
Okay,
banging.
I'll check that out.
I would definitely say that the music that I've listened to, I've really regressed back into. I don't know whether that's more a case of because of where we are currently, whether I'm listening to music and it's taking me back to that time.
Just
in
say
my mind.
Metallica, man.
No, I'm not thinking about Metallica. To be honest, I'm more thinking about like my Green Day, my Paramore stuff. I've especially this year, like I've tried to expand my Spotify playlist from the 400 songs.
Discover Weekly.
Try and put it into like a fucking 2,000, 3,000 song playlist. But I wanna, and I've tried to expand a bit more and listen to more stuff that I used to listen to. Like, oh hey, why don't I listen to this anymore? Like earlier, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna chuck on Bangarang.
No,
That's
actually
a
a great track. Yeah.
And that whole Bangarang album,
Yeah.
I love every single
Original.
song in it. It's all brilliant.
Yeah.
And like, I'll put that on every track. I love it.
You killed
It's
it with
awesome.
that, Corey Feldman.
But that's what I mean. Like I feel like I've regressed a bit, and I've listened to a lot of different stuff from from my childhood or just from when I was a bit younger to just kind of take me back in the mindset there.
I
As
get
opposed
you.
to the mindset of now of
Music can do that. It can
COVID's
transport you back to another time.
Go back to my happy place.
Yes, yeah, it's true. I just wanted to bring up, I think there's a new album coming up by Raleigh Ritchie, who I believe, I didn't watch Game of Thrones, but he's the actor that plays, I think his name's Grey Worm?
Yeah.
Grey Worm?
Yeah, he's the eunuch guy, black guy with the...
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the guy. Okay, his...
Where were you going with that? The black guy with the...
Oh, he's got a big spear.
That's where that big
I haven't watched Game of Thrones.
Should I say this?
I haven't watched Game of Thrones, so when you were like, oh, the big black guy with the... I was like, what?
No, it's very...
You've
He's
already
watching
mentioned the
he's
colour
watching
of
an
his skin.
adult version, isn't he? But the honestly, the new album honestly is amazing.
Is he
really,
a rapper
really
or
good.
singer?
He's a rapper and singer.
Yeah.
So what he's doing with this album is like
Is it
big,
this mumble
big
rap?
hooks. Like no, not mumble rap. This is like poetry, and then it's like big hooks and
He's British, yeah?
yeah, and he's British. Yeah, I'm
Got
glad
some
he's got
British
that out.
music,
So I'd say
something.
Haley Williams and Raleigh Ritchie. They've killed it.
Ah,
this
that's the point. She's brought
Got a
out
solo
that
album.
album this
Yeah.
this
year.
year, wasn't
Petals
it?
for Armour.
Yeah. To be fair, she's
I know about that.
You know about that one?
No, I didn't know about that one. I didn't realise she brought a solo.
Yeah,
album.
no, it's incredible. It's so well produced, and it's moving to a bit more poppy,
For
but
sure.
very accessible and really, really powerful.
Yeah,
Some of the lyrics.
More of the time.
Yeah.
I think the
Yeah.
first single she brought out, the video
Cinema.
was really
Very weird,
Yeah.
very kind of
Really
avant-garde,
weird,
but
yeah.
I like what she's doing there.
Avant-garde.
Yeah. Alright, let's round up, shall we? Oh, you got one
last
thing.
One last thing.
Spider-Man.
So I don't know whether you guys are fans or not of Kevin Smith.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So okay, so I put off seeing Jane and Silent Bob
Reboot.
for ages and ages and ages.
Yeah.
And
It's
then
awful.
I sat up last night or a couple of nights ago,
Uh-huh.
and I put it on. I fucking loved it.
Really?
No way.
I thought it was very,
I
very
thought-
average.
For me, the only reason I loved it is I loved all the fanboy shit.
Yeah.
All the fanboy Kevin Smith shit that
Was
he
it
could
like
get in.
harkening
It's
back?
proper fanboy.
All the whole
isn't it?
it's such a fanboy.
I mean, James Bond Strikes Back, the first one was proper fanboy.
Yeah.
Oh,
But this
really?
was literally like
Every other joke.
Every other joke
Yeah,
was
you wouldn't
like,
get it
oh
unless you
yeah,
knew all
it's
Kevin
this,
Smith
this,
stuff.
this. If you haven't watched
Like Easter eggs.
yeah,
The whole way
yeah,
through.
exactly.
I
If you
get
haven't watched, like all the Kevin Smith movies, you would get all of it.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't show it to like a girlfriend or anything like that. But it's just like for me personally,
Yeah.
I put off watching it for ages. I watched it. I was like, yeah, it was really good.
What did you give it out of 10?
Oh, fucking more than.
I'll probably give it a 6.
No, yeah, to be honest,
Mike's
I'll give
like,
it.
Yeah, like,
Chris Hemsworth's got a really funny cameo in it.
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth,
That's
it's brilliant.
interesting. Nice.
I'm not the biggest fan of Kevin Smith anyway. It's like I see him. He's always. Everyone listens to him as like a voice of reason for all these kind of different films. And I'm like the entire time I'm just thinking, why are you relevant? Kind of, you've got like a very very average small body of work kind of thing. It's one of these people that he just knows a lot of people.
He's got like a cult following, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
it's a huge.
It's 'cause
cult
he makes movies for like zero money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
And
makes.
I think
money.
there is something to be said, especially in like modern day films.
Yeah.
I think
And
there's.
again, much like not like Christopher Nolan, but he always gets movies
Yeah.
made, and like he'll go out and do crowdfunding, he'll do like
Oh, really?
Kickstarters.
Well,
and
wasn't
stuff
it
like that.
wasn't it Walrus? That was
Tusk.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
the Tusk movie. He wrote that with some guy. They do the podcast, and they were getting people to come up with ideas for them to write this movie. They were coming up with like really obscene ideas, and that's how they did Tusk. That's how they got like the main body of work for it was through his podcast.
And did it work?
It's weird. It's fucking.
I quite like
stupid.
Tusk. It's like a little. It's like a shitty B movie, but it's funny.
okay.
It's,
Worth a
yeah,
watch.
if you look at it as a B movie, it's really good.
It's an hour and a
Okay,
half.
well.
If it's ever on Netflix or something, just watch it.
I'll give it a go.
Does anyone remember the YouTuber, Mr. Guitar Man? Remember them? Really old school YouTuber.
Mm-mm.
I don't remember. Anyway, I noticed recently. It's from like literally from the beginning, early days of. And he's one of these guys that will like slap a couch and then slap something else or hit this and put it together and make a beat kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah, I know.
And he was like 2005, 2006 when it was first kind of starting.
Yeah.
He's a big time Hollywood director now.
Really?
Well, I say big time. He's made an indie film with Mads
Mikkelsen.
Mads
Yeah.
Mikkelsen.
like where he's stranded and he has to survive kind of thing. But like he's making movies now. Like,
Yeah,
it's the very first like old tool YouTuber who I've ever seen go on to actually do something, but no one knows who it is.
Shows you what you can do.
Does that mean that in like 20 years' time we're going to get like a Logan Paul movie or something like that?
Yeah,
we're going to be
that's
just
the next
like
step, isn't it?
We're like talking to Chris Nolan, like, I didn't slate it, please, let me have my millions.
Absolutely.
Let's hope he sees this for that exact reason. Right.
How are you on your Kevin Smith knowledge?
Not very. I think I've seen Jay and Silent Bob and I've seen Clerks 1.
Jesus.
But
Jane Bob must have really confused you.
Yeah.
It's got like people from Mallrats chasing Amy,
I
like
was very
Dogma.
Sounds like the most
I still
inaccessible
Dogma as
film
well.
in the world.
Yeah.
This one.
Oh no, it is
Yeah,
completely.
yeah.
Have you
It's
not
like the
seen it?
Tenet or low budget Tenet film, where it's like the most inaccessible. I haven't seen them. I haven't seen
Yeah,
them.
but at least with the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, like all you have to do is just go back and watch these other 6 films, and then you'll completely understand.
To be fair, it's like jumping into Endgame. It's like
Right,
the very first
yeah.
one
Well,
I've
I'd
ever
say
seen.
Jane and Bob's even weirder because you literally have characters playing 2 different characters because they play different
bloody
characters. So like they play a different character in Mallrats, a different character in Chasing Amy, and in Jane and Silent Bob they'll turn up at different points playing the different characters.
My favourite.
So it is Tenet then.
My favourite little like tidbit that they did was they're running around a comic book convention, and Jay and Silent Bob run into this room, and it's a Clerks panel.
Yeah.
And all the people in the Clerks panel are in black and white,
Right.
and then they go back to Jay and Silent Bob and they're in black and white. It's brilliant.
Nice.
But yeah, I loved it. Like if you just want a good laugh, watch it.
I'll give it a go. Maybe not. I did see.
Well, go
Dogma,
back
though.
and watch Mallrats and Chasing Amy.
Yes.
They're good.
Yeah, I need to see that.
And
But-
definitely rewatch Dogma. Dogma's good.
Dogma's
I saw
classic.
Dogma.
my
That's one I
favourite
did see.
film.
I'll take that.
And
back.
see Clerks 2.
Yeah, Clerks
Yeah?
is good.
Clerks 2 is funny.
That's so good. Okay.
There's a
Cool.
bit with a donkey in it.
Yeah.
I won't say anymore.
Just like Donkey Punch.
Donkey Punch is brilliant.
Such an overreaction.
Have you seen Donkey Punch?
That's the
I
one on the
didn't watch
boat,
it.
yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Donkey Punch.
I'm thinking of something completely different.
This
Yeah.
is
Right? I'm
Okay.
thinking of the
I'll
one.
set the scene. I'll set the scene.
Right?
Yeah.
You know when you're watching TV and you fall asleep on the sofa,
Yeah.
and then you wake up at
Where
like
are you
2.
going with this?
And then you
thing?
wake up, and then you wake up at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and you turn at and you look at the TV. The TV's still on. You're like, what the fuck was I watching? So I'm watching something else. Fall asleep on the sofa. Wake up. I look at the TV. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Because the start of Donkey Punch for the first 10-15 minutes
Yeah.
is like a porn movie.
Yeah, it's just an orgy.
Right.
It's like-
Right,
Okay,
okay,
it's the
we
same
are
thing.
on the same wavelength.
And then you get into it, and then out of literally in the first 10-15 minutes, boom, massive criminal offence happens, and you're like, oh, and I was literally, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, well, I'm watching this thing. I'm in the long ball now.
You were watching porn for the plot, weren't you? That's exactly what it was.
That's what.
Watch
A lot
Donkey
of
Punch.
people do.
Honestly, watch Donkey
Yeah,
Punch.
I think it's
Good
actually
film.
quite a good movie.
Really good.
You rate it? Okay.
Never heard of it.
I'm really surprised.
Yeah,
I only heard just like it's a bit of a novelty, weird kind of.
The thing is, it's got the name and like the synopsis don't do it justice because it's actually pretty well made. It's
Really?
actually pretty well
Oh,
done,
okay.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure
But
it's
it
one of
sounds
the-
like
it's
just
a
a soft
film.
porn.
It's a film for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If me personally, if I see a film for, I'm like, oh, I'll probably
Yeah,
watch
it's
that.
who's
Yeah.
her? It's Ray Winston's daughter, Jamie Winston. I think her name is.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow. So on that box.
You
I like the fact that's what we've ended on after
Learn
Tenet,
to-
right?
learn
You go watch Donkey Punch. You heard it here.
Watch Donkey
first.
Punch. Don't bother with Tenet.
Jay and Silent Bob, Donkey Punch.
Yeah, if you want to see a low budget Tenet, go and see Jay and
Silent
Silent Bob.
Bob.
Yeah.
And that,
There you
yes,
go.
okay, you've got so many recommendations.
And also,
Let's finish.
Spider-Man is the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
Batman is overrated and overdone. Good night, goodbye, guys.